In the 2020 VCS Summer Split, the race for the top of the table is starting to heat up. In the next few minutes, we take a look at our matchups for Week 6 and how they may impact the standings for our teams in the weeks to come. At the top of the table sits 𝗬𝗲 Esports, still the team to beat despite picking up a loss in the previous week. Hot on their heels though is Team Flash, our spring split champions, having found their groove after a disappointing start to the split. A staple of the VCS, GAM Esports are in third place, boasting a small win streak of their own. Team 𝗁𝗏𝗏 in fourth, however, seem to be faltering in recent days, and will be looking to turn things around. In fifth, 𝗃𝗏𝗏 Esports will be looking to unseat 𝗁𝗏𝗏 and Friends from the top half of the standings. Rounding out the table are 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Esports, 𝗳𝗂𝗍𝗏𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 Esports. The top 6 teams at the end of the regular season will proceed to playoffs for a chance to go to Worlds, while the bottom 2 will enter the promotion tournament to fight for their spot in VCS Spring 2021. Currently, no team has locked their spot in either postseason bracket. Moving on to our matchups for the weekend, 𝗬𝗏𝗏 takes on Team 𝗁𝗏𝗏 in our first match this week. And while CES is certainly still the favorites to take the series, 𝗁𝗏𝗏 can definitely trade blows with the Giant, or even sneak an upset win if they rebound to their early summer split form, especially if CES remains in their slump. Keep your eyes on the bot lane, as 2 of our best AD carries, 𝗷𝗏𝗏 and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 face off. EVS takes on GAM in our second series, as 𝗘𝗀𝗢 and company look to stop their former teammate 𝗳𝗏𝗏 from continuing his win streak. These 2 players will ensure that top lane will be quite the explosive festivity, and you definitely do not want to miss out on that. Both teams will be wanting to keep their momentum going, so expect huge plays and mechanical displays out of both rosters. Pushing forward into Saturday, we begin the day with our match of the week, Team Flash taking on 𝗬𝗏𝗏 Esports. Flash will be looking to continue their 6-match win streak, hungry to return to the very top of the table going into playoffs, while CES continue on their bid to rebound and secure that top spot for themselves. Both teams have adopted a triple threat style in their gameplay, accentuated by Yoshino's explosive return to Flash's starting roster after a long break. Hence, with both squads firing on all cylinders, we expect nothing less than one of the best best-of-3 matches this season. This is a marquee matchup you absolutely do not want to miss. Rounding out our 2 days of top-of-the-table clashes is Team 𝗁𝗏𝗏 versus 𝗃𝗏𝗏 Esports. Both squads will have played on Friday and should be very warmed up going into this match. Safe to say, 𝗁𝗏𝗏 will still be looking to bounce back after disappointing games in the previous week, while 𝗃𝗏𝗏 will continue to seek to climb the ranks, regardless of the first day's games. Getting back on track will thus be the theme for both troubled squads today. This concludes the majority of Make or Break weekend here at VCS English, as we proceed to a cooling off day on Sunday, where GAM takes on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Esports, and 𝗳𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 wrangle with 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Esports. This is still the VCS of course, and anything could still happen, so be sure to tune in as we round out our week with more tempered matches on the docket. Next, let's take a look at how each of our top teams could come out of Week 6. CES should be able to clinch onto their first place, even if they lose to Team Flash on Saturday, though such a case would certainly throw that top spot into heavy contention. Aside from a freak upset from Team 𝗁𝗁𝗏𝗏 on Friday, CES should hold on to their crown this week. Keep your eyes on 𝗷𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the bot lane, as he will be the key player for CES's success or failure. Flash only plays 1 match this week, against CES. As such, their fate is heavily dependent on other teams' performances. A win against 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 will keep them in the top 2, though a loss opens up the possibility of a 3rd or even 4th place finish. Personally, I expect a strong showing from the team against CES, and as such would expect them to retain their spot. GAM faces off against 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 this week, and assuming they pick up the expected win against 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗃𝗏𝗏 will be their greatest threat. Going 2-0 could propel the squad into second place and keep them on track to further their winning streak, while faltering could set them back into 4th. Overall, I would expect them to remain in 3rd, though increasing the gap between them and 4th place. Secret and EVOS are in the same boat this week, projected to lose against their first matchups, in the form of CES and GAM respectively. They will face off against each other on Saturday, where a struggling Secret is unexpected to hold off against a surging EVOS. Hence, game score could play a large part in deciding who takes the coveted 4th spot. It might just come down to who loses the most gracefully in their matches on Friday. Finally, this wouldn't be the VCS if everything went to projections. Let's explore some of the strangest possibilities that could arise at the end of the week, some more plausible than others. Most of these can only be achieved with 1 or 2 upsets on the way, such as CES falling to Secret, but they do illustrate just how tight the race for the top of the table is among these 5 teams. Thanks for joining me on the first installation of VCS English's Race to the Top. Be sure to tune in this Friday, 5 PM local time, for Cerberus taking on Team Secret, marking the start of our make or break weekend.
We're halfway through the split. There were skids and spins on the start, but now our field has straightened out, and one pack has broken away. It's a crowded track though, as we have 5 teams jockeying for position and trying to come out of the corner in front. Cerberus, Flash, GAM, EVOS and Team Secret are all faced with a make or break weekend. All of our top teams are clashing, and no one is safely tucked away in first. The standings are fluid, and it's impossible to call where the chips will fall. Different styles will clash, execution will be critical, brains, brawn, and quick fingers will be put to the test, and only the best will come out unscathed. The VCS remains the bloodiest region in the world, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Teams will be put to the test, through fighting and through planning, but in the end, they have to leave it all on the rift. Cerberus, the current kings, have to hold on to their rule, as they've finally shown that they are mortal. Flash are looking to prove why that they are our split champs. GAM want to show that raw skill and bloodlust are all you need. EVOS are desperately trying to go from zeros to heroes, and Team Secret want to herald their coming and draft their way to victory. We here at VCS English are just as excited as you. These might be the best 2 days of games we've ever had, and I know I cannot wait to get down onto Summoner's Rift. This is it. This is the race to the top. This is where our champions will be made. This week is make or break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just witnessed Team Secret in something of an upset, taking down Cerberus Esports 2-0, outfighting the Team Fightkins of the VCS. But enough of that matchup. We've got another very important matchup a little further down the table that we're naming, in fact, the Turning Tables matchup, our table turner of EVOS versus GAM. EVOS currently standing at 3-4, GAM at 5-2. But both teams, after rough early starts, started coming up on a bit of an upswing and looking pretty damn good in recent weeks. Vinny, run me through kind of where you're seeing both teams right now.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, both are on an upswing. EVOS started the squad looking like one of the worst teams in the league. They started 0-4, but their
Yikes.
improvement has been massive and it's been really quick. Now they are looking like what we hoped for EVOS. If you look at the names on this team, there's great players in every position, and their coaching staff historically has not been a slouch. So I'm really happy to see this team on the rise. GAM, meanwhile, has also been improving. They started the split just as a sort of a solo queue team of, admittedly, some of the best players in the league individually, but now they're in their last series, at least against Cerberus, they've actually shown really good improvement in terms of macro and team cohesion. So both teams are looking great right now. Very excited to see this matchup, especially at the top side.
Yeah, and we kind of said that this weekend could decide a lot for how the tables really shape out, and if GAM lose here, the middle of the table becomes a lot more contested. If GAM can win, they start being able to push for those coveted top 1, top 2 spots to be really pushing their way up at the top end of that playoff bracket when it comes around. And Nymaera, I kind of want you to break down a little bit about what those playoff chances could mean for both of the squads.
If EVOS lose this game, you can say goodbye to winners bracket, and that's a really big thing because whoever reaches the finals throughout that throughout playoffs will be going to international representation. They'll be going to Worlds if that ends up happening and stuff like that. If you go into the losers bracket, you don't have that extra lifeline. You have to play another best of 5 against potentially another team, and things get very dicey. So sat here with their pretty awful early start, we now have EVOS sat here at 3-4, GAM at 5-2. And if they do win this one, it brings them, as you said, it kind of makes that middle of the pack contention a little bit closer. So they really, really need to stick the landing on this one. Whereas GAM, as I was saying in the post game of the last one, they win this, they do tie up at 6-2 Flash and Cerberus, and they really are in the thick of things going towards first, and of course that winners bracket themselves. So a lot of things to play for. The playoffs implications are very high.
Huge stuff there. I kind of also do want to touch in a little bit on terms of what EVOS's schedule is looking at as well, because their 3 wins in recent weeks have been against our lower table teams here in the VCS. But their next few matches, they have also got GAM this time, but after that, it's Cerberus and Flash. So it is put up or shut up time for this squad. And
they got Secret tomorrow too.
And Secret as well. And we just saw Secret take down Cerberus. So, you put those guys right up there as well. What are your thoughts on whether EVOS can pull it off, Vinny? Have you got faith? Do you have hope for this squad?
I think if we look at it, at just how dominant they've been on the bottom tier teams recently, I think there is hope. You can't, because of how much they've seemed to have improved. I don't know how much credit you can actually put in looking at the last matchups. You might be able to in this matchup because both these squads can be playing. I'm more than happy to play a very scrappy style and just go for the mechanical outplays and stuff. So maybe we see a similar thing this time around. But I think against Secret, against Cerberus, you're going to see completely different games to what we saw last time they matched up.
Speaking of Cerberus and Secret, those are the 2 teams which GAM took down in the last 2 series as well.
Ooh,
particularly in this matchup, I'm really looking forward to the fact that both of these teams just really heavily index into their laning phase. We're going to see some really dominant lanes, and I just can't wait for this butt aheads.
Speaking of laning matchups, thank you for the easiest throw of my life, Nymaera. We're going to talk about our marquee matchup, namely one of the biggest, juiciest, banterous, full of a little bit of zest, this top lane matchup, namely 𝗳𝗏 versus 𝗘𝗩𝗢, the style versus substance, the prodigal son versus his former team, Student v Master, Anakin v Obi-Wan, the chosen one, all of the various names, puns, and storylines you want to throw at it. Vinny, tell me a little bit about the history of 𝗳𝗏 and 𝗘𝗩𝗢 and why this matchup matters in the VCS.
So 𝗳𝗏 has for a long time been the shining star of the, I mean, excluding Levi, who, as we all know, 2017 blew up.
I remember this guy, monster.
Yeah. So just behind Levi was 𝗳𝗏. He has been one of the stars in 2019. He was on the 𝗳𝗏𝗶𝗆 lineup, and yeah, he didn't really, and he looked really good right up until about MSI, where he sort of just didn't do as much as we really would have hoped from him. But then and then he comes back, he joins GAM, and on GAM is 𝗘𝗩𝗢, and to facilitate 𝗳𝗏 coming onto GAM, 𝗘𝗩𝗢 moves to the mid lane where he plays top lane champions. He just plays top lane in the mid lane. In this split, we were like, and then in last split we didn't see 𝗳𝗏 at all because there was some thoughts of him going to China, and that sort of bit the dust. But 𝗘𝗩𝗢 was easily the best top laner, or at least top 2, and he has continued that form. He's been slamming it in all the stats, and he's been playing one of the best weak side top laners of all time. But you contrast
really
that with
important thing.
𝗳𝗏.
That's massive.
You contrast that with 𝗳𝗏. He is the complete opposite playstyle. He wants to win this lane. He wants his jungler in his pocket as much as he can. So, yeah, I mean, if you go back to 2019 with 𝗘𝗩𝗢 in mid lane, it was basically 𝗳𝗏 would be winning the lane, then he'd be like, "Hey Levi, hey 𝗘𝗩𝗢, I need help up here. Come here. Let's kill this guy." And it was a 3v1 for quite a lot of that split.
So we have, thank you so much for kind of rounding that up for us. We kind of have got this massive kind of stylistic differences here, and obviously we've heard 𝗘𝗩𝗢 plays that weak side so damn well. 𝗳𝗏, on the other hand, maybe do you want to touch on him a little bit more here as well, Nymaera, and what you're expecting out of him?
I believe the way Vinny put it when we were talking about storylines coming into this was substance versus style. There's 𝗘𝗩𝗢 is the guy that just runs over games, as far as I'm aware. And then
𝗘𝗩𝗢 is more the
the other way around. Yes, the other way around. So,
man,
I saw the other way around. Yes, I was like, weak side and all the other stuff. Yes, we're looking for flashy out of one side and robust out the other side. Particularly in regards to what happened in the earlier series today, right? Looking at how I was quite critical of Cerberus not being able to move their pressure bot lane instead of focusing too much on top side. That can be the downside of having someone that always needs the attention. However, if they are willing to carry and ready to carry, much like we saw that GP in the first game, you can see what happens in the current meta when you do have these uneven side lanes, which gives you this extra angle to come into a team fight from, this extra pressure on side lanes, and allows you to force the hand of the enemy team so well. So that's what I'm looking to see from 𝗳𝗏 here. I'm really looking for GAM to just run over lane and see what they can do with that.
Yeah, and let's take this a little bit further back. We've said we've kind of got this Anakin versus Obi-Wan matchup, student versus the master, all of that kind of jam. We can certainly cue up the John Williams soundtrack. And much like Duel of the Fates, of course, it is never just 1v1, it is the 2v1. Darth Maul will be fighting that way around. And speaking of it being potentially a little bit more than just the one person in the lane, let's have a look at who might be tilting that matchup, namely our junglers. We've got Levi, of course, for GAM, who may well be looking to make things a little easier on his jungler. And Vinny, tell me about how much of a monster Levi is.
So, Levi is coming off probably one of his worst splits and in the VCS from spring. And in that worst split, he was still the second best jungler.
All right, that's probably enough. Let's move on. No, okay.
That sums it up, right? No, this guy is a monster. No, so they've had so a lot of their games have been in the early part of the split. A lot of their wins were from the top lane, just styling on it. A big part of it is Levi. he's playing 𝗚𝗔𝗠 as one of his most picked champions. His Graves has been a little bit lacking, but he really likes the AP champions so he can set up his mid laner DR1 who loves AD champions.
Potentially, that's a big thing because 𝗂𝗏𝗄 has been buffed quite heavily in terms of team fight in this patch.
𝗂𝗏𝗄 is back, and historically, Levi is a nuts 𝗂𝗏𝗄. He finds extra CS that shouldn't exist on the map with that pick, because pathing is excellent on that pick. He is by far he is an amazing jungler, and it is very. And he is the superstar jungler for a reason. He can carry from that position very well.
Vinnie, can I get your opinion on something quick?
Yeah.
All right, run me through this. I
know we've talked about junglers, but do you think this split 𝗬𝗏 has been the best mid laner, or has he actually been outshone this split? Because I know that 𝗬𝗏𝗄's had a really good split.
In terms
𝗬𝗏
of
has a lot of solo kills.
In
but I'm just
terms
wondering
of
whether you think he's the best mid laner.
In terms of individual sort of pure mechanics, I think he's definitely up there, but his champion pool has been kind of suspect. He's been really relying on Jace, and that's
8 games of it. 8 games of it this split.
That's a lot of
he's
Jace.
been very heavily reliant on that Jace pick, and it's I want to see more picks. I want to see him return to banging out the 𝗂𝗏𝗄 and all these other AP champions, play Syndra, whatever. Just because right now it's
move away from the AD.
You have mechanics, but do you have mechanics on more champions? That's what we want
more
to know.
Champions, and champions which would be good for your team comp too. Are you picking stuff which actually wins your team the game? That's the important thing, right?
Okay. So that is potentially a very important thing as well. Obviously, we have, for obvious reasons, focused very much in on this top lane, and to an extent the jungle matchup as well. We know how particularly GAM likes to index this. But exactly, I do kind of want to bring our way back to talking about the other side of that jungle coin, which of course is 𝗀 the EVOS. Nymaera, I'll throw this to you and see what you're thinking about kind of 𝗀's playstyle as it opposed to Levi and how it could tilt some of these matches.
This guy again kind of goes towards the more utility picks. He has a lot of Trundle, a lot of Rek'Sai, and some Gragas thrown in there as well. Could be a bit problematic again. We saw that the Trundle was banned a lot last series. I believe it was banned in both games. But with the nerfs coming through, potentially again hitting one of these top tier junglers in these certain matchups. I don't know whether the patch change will affect him more than it affected the last series, but still something to keep an eye on there. And going against this kind of heavy burst AP style player of Levi, a lot of the time the enemy jungler is then there to kind of contain them, right? Make sure that they don't have these explosive ganks and that they end up wasting a lot of their time. So I'm looking for 𝗀 to find a way to facilitate that kind of playstyle, but doing it on a pick which is also strong enough to work in the team comps that his teams want to play.
And I mean, he can do that. This guy has brought out the 𝗂𝗏𝗎.
Very interesting.
That kind of guy. So has been going towards a tank team fight.
It's
Run me through that a little bit more.
So no one else is playing 𝗂𝗏𝗎. He brings it out, and he pretty much carries on the pick as much as you can as the 𝗂𝗏𝗎. So
my problem with the 𝗂𝗏𝗎 is, do you hear me out here? Is that 𝗂𝗏𝗎, whenever I'm casting 𝗂𝗏𝗎 myself, I always go towards the storyline of 𝗂𝗏𝗎 needs to survive the early game. If you're getting to the point where you're having half your jungle taken, you're getting counter ganked in the few times where you can make an impact in the early game, and you don't make it to level 6 at a point of power, then you can really fall behind in the game because you don't have the consistent pressure of a 𝗂𝗏𝗄, a Graves, and Nidalee, and all that other stuff. And you can end up just becoming a bit of an ult bot later into the game. And then there's also some counters like Trundle as well, which just strip all your armor away. So if it did come out, particularly against a very strong early game team like GAM and their very strong laning prowess, it could be a bit of a trap pick, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't know if I go for it, but I think, but just the idea of it is
just what in the back of the head.
Okay,
his style.
So couple of those picks we floated there. The 𝗂𝗏𝗄 potentially coming back, and we've mulled over 𝗂𝗏𝗄 on the other side as well. Gents, I think it is time to rip that band-aid off as well. EVOS versus GAM. Who are we expecting to win, and with what game score? Nymaera.
Well, is it what I think is going to happen or what I want's going to happen? Because I want a really quick 2-0 so I can go farm Spirit Bond tokens without... No, so what I really think is going to happen is that I
Kick
think
him.
it's going to be...
Done with him. Get him off. I know.
I think it's going to be...
This degenerate's gone.
Arya's a bad waifu. Get him.
Oh, you...
This is not a fight we
get
start
off
on
with that,
cast.
right?
Kindred is the
Wait.
only option.
Oh, you people
Every day
are
is
so
chiming in as well.
uneducated. I think
Right,
that GAM
okay.
will win
Order.
2-0. I think that GAM will win 2-0, and I think that it will be through strong early game presence.
Yourself, Vinny.
I think it'll be quite a bit closer because I think EVOS is the team that will be 100% able to match that early game presence.
That's the question. That's the question.
I mean, if you look at their last series, and that was when EVOS was a really bad team, they had that one game where they just stomped GAM. Like, put them in the dirt, rubbed their faces in it, and that was coming off a game where GAM had stomped EVOS. So, yeah, it's really hard to tell. I don't think you can put too much faith in, like, GAM has the better early game. Not against this team.
That's the thing.
The players are just too good.
GAM is the kind of
Alright.
team where I could never count them out because they're so mechanically gifted, but I can also not 100% count them in because they always rely on their mechanics. So there's always that chance. Just it's the tightrope act. They're trying to balance everything, but every so often they're like, they're gonna fall.
Yeah.
Well, when you play the high wire act, you can definitely be spoiled for it. Myself, I've gone for a 2-1 in favor of GAM. I tend to agree with both of your points there. Can get a little dicey with both these teams indexing so heavily into lane, but we are into picks and bans. And of course, EVOS will be taking the blue side for game 1. GAM will be on the red. And it is a Lucian first ban out of EVOS.
Lucian wins pretty much every laning phase under the sun. Got to take that away if you're going to try and play this early game. And as Vinny was saying, they're looking to match that, make the job a little bit easier.
Yeah, what are you guys expecting as potential first picks and any bans you really want to see out of this? You know, we see the Gragas second here and GAM going towards the Syndra ban as well, Vinny.
I'm really happy to see that Gragas ban. I think it is one of Levi's best champions because it allows him to be a lot more active in the lanes early while still bringing that AP threat. Whereas other than that, what does he really have? Elise, which falls off massively, and they don't
Or
really want
Shyvana,
that.
right?
Yeah, but Shyvana doesn't really impact the lanes.
Exactly,
Does she?
yeah. No, so it's like, out of your AP champions, that's it.
Yeah, so the Gragas is a really important ban. I'm still looking to see the Jace.
She's gone.
There we are.
And this will probably be the one series where we don't have TF first picked, I'd imagine. Neither of these mid laners particularly prioritizing it that highly.
Not the most lane dominant champion, I grant you.
Yeah, so we might see an AD carry first pick here.
From what we've seen of Dia's Twisted Fate, it's pretty awful. The Wukong could also be a first pick that opens up the Jax from Kiaya, though.
They go towards the 𝗬𝗏𝗧 instead. It is a very strong AD carry, but we've heard a number of analysts kind of question that. I know anybody who's been watching or listening to Euphoria, Froscura and LS, we're talking about, 𝗬𝗏𝗧 is a strong champion, but if you draft him first, you can absolutely answer him on the other side of the draft. And I'm curious to see whether GAM can do that. And yet,
so often in the pro play, you're waiting for like these really consistent games where you can just poke out the 𝗬𝗏𝗧 because he's too short range, and then he just kind of pops off in a team fight. It makes it a little bit harder with the Ashe, though. He just engages onto him. However, once again, game 2 of the last series, go back and watch it. That's how you fail to shut down 𝗬𝗏𝗧, and if you do that, and he pops off in the game.
Well, the additional point-and-click CC of the Pantheon locked in as well. Relatively flexible. We know that can go pretty much everywhere but AD carry. Vinny, what are your thoughts on the Pantheon pick, and where are you expecting to actually end up, obviously, even if it is flexible?
I would be leaning towards that, going towards Slay. That gives you a very strong bot lane that can just kill the 𝗬𝗏𝗧 over and over. The Thresh pick should make that a lot less likely, but in that it provides good protection for the 𝗬𝗏𝗧, but it's still a lot of
a lot of ways to CC him. I agree.
No,
on the other side, though, we've seen the Wukong locked in as well as the Thresh we mentioned, and it is the Malphite from GAM.
Yes, this is kind of so Malphite just denies Wukong any kind of side lane presence because he just hits himself. Well, you're stuck between a wall and a hard place, and yeah, Malphite is
The
the
literal
hard
rock,
place
yes.
and the wall, and you're stuck between him and he just mashes you because you can't trade against him.
Yeah.
And then his team fight presence is really high, so you don't even have that advantage over him as the Wukong.
So I am a little bit disappointed because, as I mentioned, we could have seen the Jax, and I would have much rather seen the Jax counter pick than the Malphite counter pick because it's more fun.
More
It
likely.
means team fight over side lane. That's what it means.
Yeah.
I can hear the cries of every day's despair somewhere in the distance, I'm sure. But alas, there will be no Jax.
It's more Yulwei's despair because Yulwei would like a moment to talk in some of these games.
One of those
Whereas-
days.
But 𝗘𝗂𝗢𝗍 has played the Malphite before, and he has been
Mm.
very good on it. So
Yeah.
it's
But on the other
definitely not bad, but it's disappointing knowing what the potential could have been.
On the other side of it, though, this means that your teleport plays bot and stuff like that, particularly with the setup you have, is really, really good. And as much as GAM have always kind of been a top-side-centric team, this split, that bot lane, has been very impressive. And I think Slay's Pantheon, in particular, the game I saw of that as well, he was doing really well in the 2v2, using the Grand Starfall to close down teams very well, too. So I'm looking forward to see how GAM can use that pressure.
So we've seen a lot of jungle focus as far as the bans go in the segments, alongside that Bard, knowing that the Pantheon could still be flex, and Ash Bard is a pretty obnoxious lane combo. Looking like they might go towards Levi's very infamous Shyvana pick, and it is locked in. All right, tell me more about AP Shyvana again, Vinny, and why does Levi love it so damn much?
So if you look at the bans, you see a little jungle cat called Nidalee, and if you cast your mind back to the ancient days of Season 2, where one Nidalee spear would remove 3/4 of your health bar and force you to back, AP Shyvana just does that. Yeah. It's that same champion again.
She's effectively she's a slightly safer Karthus. She's got the AP nuke, level 6 spike, farms well.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know you play a little bit yourself. We have seen the Sejuani you called out, though, Vinny. Good bit of prophesying there, as Sorn will be picking it up, and it will be the Orianna as well locked in, and that is big team fight indexing from EVOS. Orianna, Sejuani, Wukong, Helena, Aphelios for backline damage is pretty big. Go on, Nymaera, I can see you.
But this is pretty big now, right, though, because Sejuani is against a jungle that really can't punish her early. You know, it's talking about, what happens if you're losing half your jungle and all these counter picks? What are you going to do against, what does Shyvana do to Sejuani in the early game? This is going to be a farm to 6 from both junglers, and now it's going to be CC versus Burst. But I think you can punish that Shyvana post that mark. Tristana locked in, though. That changes things. Tier1's got a good Tristana.
He does have a
yes.
good one.
Tell me what are you thinking about the GAM's draft, Vinny? Tell me about what you're seeing. We're seeing double AD carry and a lot of pick CC and engage.
I'm thinking it's a very good draft. I think EVOS kind of tossed away their second bans there. The Graves pick was almost never going to come out from Levi. The Bard pick, the Pantheon was almost guaranteed to go to support. So you look at that and you're like, and GAM's just laughing. It's like, we get exactly what we want. I would have preferred the Karthus over the Shyvana, but I like the Shyvana's option to throw a bit of burst at range into Aphelios. So I think that is probably why they went for it, and I can't disagree with it.
I also think that Karthus, we won't harp on it too much, is really good at zoning out something like an Aphelios too. Put down the wall of pain, gets the slow, gets magic resist shred, and you really can't team fight. However, Shyvana, if he does land that E onto the Aphelios, one of the big problems about Aphelios, he has like the lowest base magic resist in the game. I believe it's at something like 28 or something, or 26 even. It means that you're pretty much getting true damage dealt to you by most AP champions in the game. And there's an Aphelios, so there's a Shyvana, and there's the Malphite, so I'm looking to really shut down this Aphelios from the side of GAM.
All right, we've seen both team comps. Who are you guys favoring? Go for it, Vinny. Which squad's going to take this game one?
Okay, well, this is really hard because with the Wukong and the Orianna and the Sejuani as well, they can also easily zone out the AD carries on this, especially the Ashe, who hasn't got the rocket jump for mobility. But I think with the setup they have, GAM is in a better position to win lane and bring that advantage into a relatively even team fight in terms of drafts. So if you have that advantage, you're good.
Cool. So and yourself, Nymaera?
I'm going to go with GAM as well. Lane dominance, let's go.
All right, there we go. And with that, we'll toss it to Everyday on Yulwei to tell us how it actually goes on the Rift.
Thanks very much. You guys done a lot of thinking, but unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately here in the VCS, it is not always thinking that gets you across the line. It is those quick fingers and that bloodlust, something both teams bring in spades. Yulwei, how are we feeling about this one? Who is going to go for the early objectives, and how do these teams pick up the win?
Oh, I love these two compositions so much. So many explosive ways to start fights. Because Zero's back on his Wukong after the Pentakill. But let's see. I think I agree with the analyst desk, though. We are going to see a little bit of a quieter early game. Both junglers like to just farm it out. I would like to see an early top lane gank from Zorn. Of course, you have the extra melee auto attacks from Zero. So could be an early kill on 𝗂𝗂𝗎, especially with the Comet, of course. It's not the most tanky champ ever. He gets super tanky like at level 7, level 8 when he has a few levels and a few items under his belt. So early gank in the top lane could actually bring Zeros ahead, give him enough extra gold to continue dominating this matchup. We really like to see that from Zorn. And we see Levi starting topside, so he's not going to cover for 𝗂𝗂𝗎. 𝗂𝗂𝗎 needs to once again show us that he's a very solid weak side player. Ooh, wow.
Ooh, wow.
Rough.
Ooh, aggressive play out of 𝗬1. Just walks up, puts the bomb down, lights him on fire, and makes that robot wish she'd never been built.
Luckily for 𝗁𝗂𝗎, of course, he has the teleport. He also has a few cookies, so he can get back to a decent HP total to not fall prey to one of the all-ins from 𝗬1. Of course, now with the Ignite gone. There's still a lot of burst damage for Tristana. Level 3, you have all your skills, or you go 2 points in E, possible. So needs to be careful, but now 𝗬1 is exposing himself a little bit. Of course, it's very, very hard to gank him with Sejuani. Almost impossible, I'd say. So you can actually just pressure this turret and the enemy mid laner as much as he likes.
Yeah, very true. And he gets that mining of the tower plates underway. We are, of course, watching the top lane, our marquee matchup. As the analyst desk did explain, it is Master V Student who will come out on top. Will it be the old hands of Zeros or the new fingers of 𝗂𝗎𝗎? We'll have to find out as... Ooh, okay, I think you're a little bit ahead because nothing's happening on my end. There is a hook. Slay gets flayed, a lot of damage. But the shield goes up as he does kite it out. Easy love, gets a few autos.
Interesting flay direction there from B.
We may just want to quickly sync up, just because we are.
I think I got this.
Okay, cool. No
just
worries.
Stopping for a few seconds.
Right, all good then. As 𝗬1 hits another wave into the tower.
So now, what is this mid lane advantage for 𝗬1 actually going to mean in the long run? Because 𝗁𝗂𝗎 has been able to just farm it out, only 4 CS down, has teleport as well, which he does not need to use now on this wave. It looks like at least he might still opt into teleporting back. Now I think he can just walk it out. So teleport even available for another bad trade. It seems like 𝗬1 so far not able to convert his super aggressive and strong level 1 play into anything of meaning. And Zorn has finally arrived on the top side, but Levi's here too. So this shouldn't be a first blood. But now Zorn actually in a little bit of a precarious spot. He needs to be careful.
Yep.
I can turn on him.
Yeah, but
it is no mana. Never mind.
And of course, Zeros was there to zone. But we go down to the bot lane where B is taking a lot of damage. He's ignited, has to flash away, and barely survives.
Whew. So no heal for 𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀. So that's super dangerous, of course. If your support gets caught, you can't really do anything anymore as the ADC. Once again, we have Cleanse Ignite bot lane. Seems to be the theme of the bot lane today, on both sides, honestly. So there is nothing to fall back on. No extra HP, no extra movement speed. Once you're caught, you're caught. So close to another 2v2 kill, and GAM's bot lane stepping up against one of the strongest 2v2 lanes in the league. I always argue for them to be the strongest 2v2 just in lane. So B and 𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀 need to step up to make that come true.
That they do, but it is now going... Oh, 𝗃𝗀𝗎𝗓 actually didn't go back there, saw that the enemy bot lane did, and will try and grub up a few more minions before he heads back to base, as he presses that recall now. And of course, we often talk about how GAM is 3 players and a bot lane they mostly ignore, but in recent weeks, that's becoming less and less true. As Slay has been actually performing all split, he's been on the roams, and even Easy Love is really starting to perform super, super well. And GAM with 5 amazing players is terrifying. as they will go for this first Drake, and there's no chance of a contest.
And that's a very good start for the Shyvana, of course. Getting extra resistances, getting stronger, easy free gold as well and experience. So Shyvana having the early game she wanted. So far, 𝗀 not able to really look for an early gank. The only lane to really go for is top lane, as Thresh, of course, unfortunately, counts as a ranged champ, so you can't apply the Sejuani stacks. So it's basically impossible to gank GAM spot lane here for 𝗀. Maybe level 6 can make something happen together with Gravitum and set him from B. But right now, I really feel like he should try to... Kiai has level 6 now and has flash.
Yeah.
So we might just be in for a little bit of farming, honestly. There isn't really the biggest opportunity to look for kills.
No.
And Herald might be the first objective that yields some kills.
Very possible that Herald will be the one. It would make sense as Levi has snuck into this bush. Do they want to go for a play as the wave pushes back out? I don't think so. They just call it off. So a little bit of wasted time for the Shyvana, but it's no big deal. Ooh, up in the top side, we do have ults being used. The Cyclone came out, didn't really get much of anything, and now it is an ult disadvantage up on the top side.
It's the one level where Wukong can actually look for a solo kill into Malphite. We've seen some Wukongs overwhelm the Malphites before they were really able to build some armor. Diawan is in a dangerous spot. Someone looking for the... Nope, not quite. Interesting. I think he could have attempted that there. Hard to react for Diawan to out of vision Sejuani ult. I feel like there was an opportunity missed. So far, 𝗀 very conservative, just farming up, and Sejuani keeping pace in terms of farm with Levi on the AP Shyvana is not a bad thing for EVOS either.
No.
I was super impressed with 𝗀's late game Sejuani performance last week. His team fighting was absolutely incredible, and team fighting is everything this composition wants to do anyway, so nothing is lost for EVOS, even though maybe they could have looked for a little bit more, especially in top side.
Yeah, so far we are very, very even. There is actually slight gold lead growing, just mostly from the few farm deficits that are going, but it's really nothing to write home about because it's so spread across the team. It won't be affecting any item break points yet. But is it still going to be the Herald where the game cracks open, do you think?
It seems like EVOS is preparing the swap here. Bot lane pushing in, so they should be able to get onto the map first, but we also see Slay is already reacting with the recall of his own, so we might just see the clash. There are some pings on the Herald too. There is no teleports. The recall right now for Xerath would be quite bad. This could be dangerous, but EVOS is definitely the first team to arrive. They shouldn't have the damage to burst it down though. So
ooh, they look like they want to kill Kiaya, where the pings are.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to kill him though. He has
they get the
ultimate
ult,
and
that's-
flash available.
To be fair, getting the ultimate is almost enough, because you can
That is
try and
true,
take
that
a
is true.
skirmish here. That unstoppable force is pretty huge, as the Rift Herald has been started up, DivKid with good guns for it, but GAM are here
He's
to
left
play.
level 6, he can ult someone, but GAM seems to be a little bit too far away. We'll leave a go for the steal.
He has the
Ultimate
dragon
and
form.
smite available.
There it is. He's going to go in. I'm not sure who got that one. It looks like it was EVOS as the eye is secured. They'll trade it for first blood. Now DivKid on the run will run through that dissonance. Dia1 on a bit of a flank, but won't find a way in.
And importantly, 𝗀 was able to pick up the eye, so it's first blood traded. Right now the gold doesn't look too great for EVOS, but they secured the eye, so they can fight back in the next few minutes. No turret softened so far, so probably not going to be a first turret, but at least some gold back into the pockets of some of the important carries. So we're going to have to see if it's actually worth for EVOS as they lose another plating in GAM, accelerating to a 2k gold lead just from one team fight and a few platings.
Yeah, that is Dia1 doing his best job at mining away in the mid lane. As yeah, he's just getting out to that gold lead. I don't think it's too terrible. Parquet, I think it's accepted that you're going to lose a couple tower plates in this matchup. You can't really stop the Tristana from doing it. He's 20 CS down as well. So this could turn into a problem. We know that Dia1 is a fearsome Tristana.
Yeah, I think we definitely see a little bit more than just the matchup being bad.
Yeah.
I think this is also a little bit of player diff in the laning phase. Orianes can neutralize Tristanas quite well, so I feel like we definitely see the prowess of Dia1 on his special champs. Of course, the Tristana is one of his best champions. He had the insane, I think it was game 2 of the finals. We just carried 1v5 on the Tristana pick, so he's ready to strike again. He's building up a nice lead, has the 𝗘𝗀 under his belt too, so going to arrive at his 2-item power spike quite quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And it will be now EVOS going towards the dragon, but it looks like a contest is very likely. 𝗂𝗧 is here, Levi is in dragon form, throwing out those flame breaths. Can they get the smite? 𝗁 definitely can. 𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗻 gets to the lantern and flashes away. The volley doesn't land. EasyLove getting zoned off there by B, and they get out clean. Oh no, I spoke too soon as Slay arrives. They throw out the Gravitum, get the root. 𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗻 stepping around everything, dodges the Pantheon, dodges the volley, and he gets out with his life. But 𝗂𝗎 now arrives. 𝗁 gets altered away. B will go down. 𝗂𝗏𝗀, I think, will be following him. The shockwave can't quite go off.
This is GAM against EVOS, how we expected it to go. A lot of action. Both teams don't step away from any fight they see. There's another teleport coming in from EVOS.
Oh,
they
there
want to
it
punish
is.
Levi and EasyLove.
They're going to try. I don't think they'll get onto EasyLove in time. No, I tell a lie. Zeros will clean that one up. He goes into the Cyclone, wants to get onto Levi, who does not have his dragon form. There's the second Cyclone, and there it is. Zeros comes in for the double kill and takes down his old friends.
Suddenly we are looking at a 3-3 kill score and 1-1 in Dragons. So what happened? This was so dangerous for EVOS. Very good
Look at
ultimate
𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗻.
on the Ashe. He gets away with the skin of his teeth.
Look at him in the rest of this fight, though. This is insane.
Look at him dance around all these skill shots here. Look at this volley dodge. That is absolutely insane.
Boom. Oh, my word.
I honestly expected 𝗂𝗧 to just ult on top of 𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗻 to just secure the kill. That was quite surprising to me. But good call. Good restraint from 𝗂𝗧 to go for the team move and not for the maybe a little bit more selfish move of just getting the kill. Yeah. And now he teleports back to top lane, so immediately Xerath realizes the opportunity to just go for the play himself. Super close to the recall actually going off. EasyLove was like a split second away, and sadly Levi has the HP lead, but I mean Shyvana without her ultimate against a very strong champion from the top lane. It's not a fair fight.
It was a very Mumkey clean play out of Zeros on that Wukong. You love to see it as he picked up a Mumkey couple of kills. But this is now the Rift Herald being summoned up in the bot lane. She'll have a bit of a wander forward.
𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗻 needs to be getting in range.
He's in range. He's okay. There it is. Okay. Oh, no, he didn't get the gold. That's a bit of a misplay there. 𝗁 gets all of those tower plates, except that last one. Yep, there it is. It goes on to 𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗻. It did. Finally, I think. Yeah. It went down.
I'm not sure. So there was a little bit misplayed there.
No, it hasn't actually gone down. 𝗂𝗎 very, very low. Levi here to cover him, though. Blocking that Sejuani ult. The flail comes out, but that'll be it.
And that's stopwatch blown for 𝗂𝗀𝗀. He's not going to build into the Zhonya's right now. Probably a second item, but now this is gone for the next team fight. Dragon is coming up in 2 minutes. This is a Dragon EVOS could give up, but EVOS isn't really the team to give up many objectives, so I don't expect them to not do anything about them, that Dragon. So, let's see. Black Cleaver first item for Xerath. He has some armor penetration. Shouldn't be enough to really threaten 𝗂𝗧 too much, as you can see. That was the full combo for Xerath, and 𝗂𝗧 is just walking away.
Oh, but he's going to go back in. He uses that Cyclone up there. And won't get anything out of it. Wow. This is Malphite. Rock solid.
Yeah, if you want to have fun on a tank, just pick Malphite. He's so much fun to play. People,
he is.
I had someone flame me for picking the Malphite and telling me it's no fun. Then I ended up 9-1 and 14. Was like, that was a lot of fun.
I mean, it's no fun for the other top laner.
It was jungle up there.
Oh, wow. Down in the bot side, first brick picked up by GAM. They just picked their time, walked into the bot lane, and they will continue to grow their gold lead, which is actually getting very, very scary. The game feels more even than a 4K gold lead. As now we do have the attempted play. The Chakrams are summoned up, but that will be it as Slay throws his spear down and arrives to cover the Ashe.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the Moonlight Vigil, if it's not the Gravitum one, that is not really the greatest tool to catch out people. It's just a little bit of damage. Ashe didn't care about that. So now the Herald opened up. GAM can just go for the Herald, and the dragon. So EVOS in a very bad position. They need to get back into this game. They are losing. They are bleeding out. They are losing objective after objective.
They're about to lose top lane turret as well. This is... They're hemorrhaging. You're exactly right. The bleeding is no longer just internal, as it is now spilling onto the streets.
Yeah, and look at this gold lead. It's a 4k gold lead at 16 minutes. They have the wombo combo team fight to come back from this kind of gold lead, but it's getting very dangerous. And if GAM is able to use this ritual to break mid lane turret, there's going to be absolutely no control over the map. GAM can move into the enemy jungle, steal away all the extra jungle gold, starve Zorn, and even Orianna, who's going to take over the jungle later on. It's EVOS needs to strike soon. If they choose to give up the next few objectives, it's just going to be turtle mode for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that is certainly a possibility, as Levi is moving towards this mid lane, could drop the Herald to crack it, but no, they just back out. Dragon is on the rift, as Levi is trying to get away from this cheeky monkey, running down the lane, pops the dragon form, and he's out. He's got the Baron recall.
Yeah, he used his ultimate there, which was a little bit surprising to me, but of course, better safe than sorry.
Gives one is starting the Drake.
They have control everywhere. Look at the bot lane, it's pushed in. Mid lane is still pressured by GAM, even with Levi recalling to the base. So it's definitely all GAM right now, the map. And they can't really stand up to them in lane 1v1 or 2v2. They can maybe look for a fight. Orianna on a first item spike. Wukong is super strong right now. Aphelios is still away from his first items. That's a little bit of a
and
bad situation.
We do see the big feels bad as well for DivKid. Has all three components of an Infinity Edge, but hasn't got the combined. So he was 400 gold short. DivKid, speaking of which, has to flash away. And cool guys don't look at explosions as Dia1 gets the kill.
He flashed. Didn't use cleanse against the ignite. Quite surprising, but in the end, Dia1 gets another kill. This should be another turret. GAM snowballing out of control in no time, and EVOS really needs to strike back. They need to look for picks. They need to look for some very nice team fight coordination and wombo combo. Because even though their team fighting, their composition should be favored in 5v5 comps, not from 10k gold though.
Oh, and this is, look at this. This is that Dia1 Bloodlust. It's a flash for a flash, and that's the easiest kill you can ever get.
Yeah, he needed to flash to its turret. There could have been the spot he would be safe in. Looked like Dia1 just set the damage to kill him anyway, though. Yeah. So probably going to just be his death.
And,
so another turret falls. Look at this gold lead. It's approaching 6k at 18 minutes.
They're getting gummed. This is kind of what GAM does, right? They just break early games open and it's so hard to get back into it. I also want to point out, Wukong is super strong. The strongest point of EVOS has the 2 kills, but he can't leave lane because Kiaya is just constantly in top lane saying, I'm just going to keep pushing in. I'm just going to keep pushing in. And he can't force the Malphite out of lane. Our analyst S was kind of like, oh, it's a bit of a boring counter. And yeah, okay, maybe he could have gone to the Jax or something and had something super explosive. But it's a ridiculously good counter when you can play it as well as Kiaya can.
Absolutely. And I feel like the time is running out for EVOS. They need to flip something. They need to look for a good team fight pick. Usually, and maybe that's it.
This is potentially it. Slay is in a lot of trouble. Levi coming in to support, but that's going to be a free kill, but it goes on to B. That's unfortunate.
At least it's 1 kill back. They didn't even use that many ultimates, only the bot lane, so it's Shockwave as well as the Glacial Prison still available. Even Wukong ult, of course, he wasn't there. So, Zorn is looking for Dia1.
Gets him in the ult. Does he have the damage? Parquet arrives. The Shockwave lands. Dia1's very, very low. Can they finish him off? It might be B getting another one, but no. Zorn gets the shutdown, and EVOS are fighting back.
Most people would say Zorn getting the kill is not the greatest, but I honestly think more gold for the Sejuani against double ADC is definitely nice for the front line. Last time he got very fat on the Sejuani. He was just able to zone away the enemy AD carry every single team fight. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind this too much. Parquet can be useful with all his CC anyway, and he got a big assist too. So 2 picks now. EVO's closer in the gold game. It's back to only 4k gold lead or deficit from their position, of course. So they might be able to get to a state where at least 2 items hit for 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗀, 2 items come in for the 𝗂𝗂𝗃 and even 𝗬𝗏s to fight back a little bit.
Yeah, it's very possible, but this mid lane tower should be going down momentarily. It is on a very small amount of health, and there are members of GAM ready to take it. And 𝗂𝗧 still just keeping 𝗳𝗏s in the side lane, not letting him have an impact. It's a bit obviously strange. Malphite has that big team fight ult, but in this situation, it's just more valuable to stop the Wukong being relevant. Sorn bops his way forward, but can't save that tower.
Only the mid tier 1 goes down. Took GAM a lot of time to actually break this one. I would have liked to see a little bit more effort put into breaking this one to really extend their vision control, but now they have so many tools to play with when it comes to map control. So Dragon is going to spawn soon. It's only third Dragon for them, so it's probably just going to be a Levi solo or something, not a big fight for either team. But Baron is the big objective we are looking at. Usually something EVOS likes to play around quite a lot.
Absolutely. Sorn does get the 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏, throws out the ult as well, can't quite land it onto anyone. Will get the passive ticking onto Slay, but he jumps away to the Raptors. Levi's the target now, but Sorn has to lantern out. 𝗳𝗏s goes in, and he's spinning and winning on top of EasyLove. Can he blow this Ashe up? The arrow was used to slow him down. There's the unstoppable force, and now 𝗳𝗏s is in so much trouble. The 𝗱𝗏𝗆𝗆 ult comes out, but it might not do enough as Slay gets on top of him. Can this 𝗱𝗏𝗆𝗆 carry the fight? He has to try and deal with a Malphite, which is not easy at all. The rest of EVOS are melting away as GAM looking triumphant. Levi throws out another big E. That's a triple kill for the jungler. Can he make it the quadra? No, 𝗂𝗂𝗃 will not be detected. And that is 4 easy kills for GAM.
That was a good attempt from EVOS. Of course, they need to look for the fights, but once you don't hit the ultimate, you have to call it off. It's too much of a commitment to use. There was this flank there. He used his flash, his ultimate. Very good kiting from EasyLove, definitely in that team fight. But now it's Baron, and that should be the final nail, maybe the first nail in the coffin. Maybe not the final one, but they are getting closer to nailing all those nails in.
I mean, it's 9k at 22 minutes your way. I think that coffin is looking pretty sealed.
Yeah, fair enough. So look at this. If you disengage Xia, I think everything is fine. Don't overcommit into this choke point. Levi is just waiting for his opportunity to use his ultimate. So there he is, still super safe, and hits his first E, a chunk of damage. 𝗂𝗃𝗃 actually with good peel on DR1, but they just don't have the damage. 𝗘𝗀𝗃𝗃 tries to impact from the side, but he's on short-range guns. Very strong in short range, but not very good at chasing down targets far away. And he doesn't really deal any damage to 𝗂𝗧. So even though 𝗘𝗃𝗃 in a good spot here, couldn't really do much. Of course, also still on only 1 item. So AP Shyvana looking a little bit stronger than 𝗏𝗏𝗆𝗆s, at least in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be said that all the members of GAM played that really, really well. EasyLove getting away from 𝗳𝗏s there, baiting him as far forward as he did, was fantastic. And look, we've criticized GAM a lot this split, but it was when they weren't really playing as a team. But now that they are actually playing as a team and bringing their team fight prowess, they look unstoppable.
Yeah, and in the end, team fights. Oh, 𝗘𝗃𝗃 might get caught here.
He's alright, he's okay.
In the end, team fights are about team coordination, but also about individual mechanics all the time, right? So the best mechanical team is most of the time also one of the best team fighting teams, and they are showing up once again.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not being as silly and taking silly fights anymore. They're using that mechanical prowess at the right time, and this is a GAM that it's hard to see too many teams beating them. Particularly twice in a series. Maybe you can take 1, but taking 2 off them is going to be really, really hard, and it's a bit early to call it, but it's looking like EVOS will not be taking this one.
Yeah, that's a very fair call to make. I think it all has to start in mid lane.
𝗀𝗏𝗆𝗃𝗏 ult goes through the posts.
So in my opinion, it all has to start in mid lane. You need to be able to stand up to DR1 on his picks. Because if you're even
Graviton ult used, they're going to try and engage, but I think he's a bit too fast. And you can have a third take at that point. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just trying to prepare for the post game, but for some reason it just tears my computer apart, so I'm a
that's
little
alright.
bit behind right now.
You're okay. You're
That is
fine.
unfortunate.
𝗳𝗏𝗺 has been caught out. Speaking of being behind, he just gets absolutely ripped to shreds in the jungle. The bot lane tower falls, as does the mid lane. And it looks like GAM want to get this one over quickly so that Nymaera can go farm those Spirit Bond points with his Ahri. But, you know, I hope they take a bit longer because that's a bad thing to be doing. And I don't encourage it.
And this is just a victory lap now. There really is nothing EVOS can do anymore.
Levi coming in, as is 𝗧. They will get a little bit of damage out. The shield goes up, the hook goes wide, and the inhib will be going down. And yeah, as you said, this is a victory lap. The EVOS have absolutely no hope in this one. GAM will take one more reset, and then I imagine we get the final fight in the game.
They can take it slowly. They are far enough ahead to not really be threatened by the ominous scaling coming in from EVOS. It's too far removed. There is no scaling to be had in this game. Maybe if you extend the game by 20 minutes, maybe there's a chance there, but it's gone already. So EVOS now has to think about the next game. They kept up with GAM decently in the early game. They didn't really get blown out from minute 1. But in the end, 𝗀 failed to impact any of the lanes, and then GAM just won through superior laning and some better calls in teamfights as well. So they really need to attack some of these GAM-specific champions. I feel like just Quadra or even quintuple ban DR1 could be an option. Just try to push him on something he isn't as comfortable on. Because as long as he is on one of his specialties, he just seems to threaten the game.
Oh dear.
Just from laning phase.
There is a lot of information missing here. 𝗁𝗏 spotted by the hawk shot, but there are 3 members of each team around the top side here. B throws out the hook, but it doesn't quite land. This is a little bit dicey. EVOS are charging forward. They want to try and get something, but at the moment it'll just be 𝗏𝗂𝗏 getting caught. Teleport comes in, enchanted crystal arrow straight onto 𝗁𝗏. He needs to find a way to monkey his way out of this one. In fact, it was just the clone. I was the one with the silly monkey. As 𝗁𝗏 can't click the lantern, 𝗘𝗀𝗢 charging down. There's the ult back onto 𝗎𝗓𝗋. Levi is the target, but he is in that dragon form. Can they get anything done? 𝗁𝗏 is back there with 𝗎𝗓𝗋. Should be able to hunt the axe down, but in the base, 𝗡𝗏𝗏𝗀 desperately clearing waves. B and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 trying to run away. 𝗧 cuts off the retreat. Goes golden. Is Levi. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 does as well. There's a hook landing. Can 𝗏𝗏𝗏 run? Or will 𝗧 hunt him down? He will. The shield wall stands. The Nexus is exposed. And 𝗁𝗏 is 1v4 with no towers. And with that...
Where did it go?
I don't know.
He just tried to defend the space, but he's just...
He's just dead. DR1, I think, blew him up. And speaking of blowing things up, that is the Nexus being destroyed. It is a strong, strong performance out of GAM. And my, oh my, did they take a strong win there. Now, I understand that Yulwei's camera's not working. I know it looks a little bit silly, but don't worry. You still got me, and we'll be going to a break shortly. Anyway, Yulwei, final reaction to the game before we head to our break.
Impressive from GAM. They're looking better and better in terms of coordination. 𝗘𝗀𝗢 on a weak side champ still having so much impact. I'm very impressed with them.
Absolutely. GAM looking like Spring GAM. And if Spring GAM is back, all of the teams need to be very, very worried. But we'll be back in just a few minutes with our analyst desk to break down Game 1 and move us on to Game 2. Don't go anywhere, guys. We hope you are enjoying the show here on VCS English, your source for VCS in English.
This harvest will guide us through dangerous nights. It humbles the foe with its grace. The
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After GAM dominate a game versus EVOS and move up to 1-0. Before we go on to talk about that game, Nymaera, this is a joint LJL and VCS intervention. Stop it. You cannot be farming 𝗵𝗡𝗺 𝗚. I hear you've been match fixing with the short games this time. This isn't allowed. Me and Vinny have been talking about this, and we can't be doing with this. Well, what's going on, man?
Way to proc my anxiety there. Thank you very much. That's the first thing I'll say. Like, oh my word! I think I've made a huge mistake.
I give him no warning,
oh no!
by the way.
He's
Give him
memeing
no
on
warning.
me. Yeah, all's good for me, right? Gotta get that S rank tonight.
Oh,
Okay. Well, let's take it away from having given my brother a minor heart attack. Let's instead take it
Minor?
talk about this game. Vinny, it felt like it was pretty even early on. Objectives were being traded back and forth. It was 3 kills to 3. What was going on in that early game?
Yeah, so the early game was just like both teams made decent map rotation, were making decent map trades and decent goals in terms of how to play that early game, but the gold lead was just coming from champion difference. You can't make that much of an impact as a Wukong into Malphite. 𝗘𝗎𝗄 just smashes the mid lane as Tristana versus Orianna, and I mean Levi will always outfarm the Sejuani on Shyvana if no one's doing anything. So, and then if both these team comps wanted to just do team fights, and if one has a much better early game, they come into it with a big wallet advantage and beat them with it.
There you go. And kind of hear some stats for you of that, because we saw it actually look relatively even on the scoreboard for a long time, and then suddenly at just around 50 minutes, GAM were 4k up. Then they were up 6k at 18:30. They were up 22 by the time it hit, up 9k by the time it hit 22 minutes on the clock, and they had a Baron to their name as well. That's a pretty rapid snowball, and one of the key players that led to that, our match MVP for this game one, was 𝗳𝗏 in the mid lane, or 𝗳𝗏 rather, in that mid lane. Tell me about that guy in the mid lane.
I think he heard I was talking crap. I think he heard me saying, oh, is he maybe not the best mid? Vinny, what do you think? You know, 𝗬𝗏𝗺's had a really good split. No, this guy just absolutely just ran over this game. Level 2 all in on the Orianna basically secured a winning lane for the rest of the game. He doesn't mind that he hit blows of Ignite for nothing. He goes back on a cannon wave, doesn't lose any farm, gets back with a cull, and then just farms up, knowing that the enemy jungler is farming to 6, gets solo kills across the map, gets to 3 items ridiculously quick in the game. This guy is unstoppable.
Yeah, his Tristana is honestly disgusting, and you look every time he plays it, you just sit there and say, why are there 8 games on Jace and not 8 games on Tristana?
Yeah.
Because this pick just does not lose games when he's on it. It feels like, I'm not sure what his all-time win rate is. He's probably lost
Pretty
on
damn
it,
high.
but
he lost in game 5 in the finals, didn't he?
Yeah,
I believe he lost on that one time. Yeah.
All right, all right. You go hunt that one down, Nymaera. Vinny, keep talking.
He's lost one game. Lost
Yeah.
one game. He's 7-1 on it.
yeah. There you go.
Wow.
He's smurfing on that pick, and I mean, as we've said, when 𝗘𝗎𝗄 is on form, he is insane player. I mean, what was it? He had like 39 solo kills last split.
Yeah, it's a huge amount. In
Bloody
24
mess
games or something like that
predicted
too.
in there.
Yeah.
Easy stats.
I was wrong about 6-2 by the way. Lost one game against Talon at the mid-season cup as well, by the way. So unfortunate there, but still very, very potent pick.
Pretty damn good going. You can see as on the official stream as well, we can see that like 𝗬𝗏 got the same MVPs. We're all kind of in consensus. Like there's a lot of people saying this guy has been so damn good. I want to turn it around though and say, EVOS, what do they need to do to turn around that series? Because it looked competitive in the early game, but it quickly got blown out in that mid. And what do they need to be doing to change that out, Vinny?
I don't think you need to be too worried in terms of in-game. I think you just need to come into game with a draft that has a lot more early game agency. And priority.
Yep.
So because
Alright, and
otherwise
Nymaera
you're
very
just gonna
swiftly as
fall
well?
behind, and then
Yeah, don't
Alright,
draft
so-
arguably 3 losing lanes with a scaling jungler. That doesn't work for you. Said it in the first series as well. It's just not a winning formula.
Okay, so we're now into draft off to see whether they can pull that off. Learning the Shyvana free scale and scaling picks that also win lane kind of got GAM some pretty damn huge advantages. And as we're back into draft here, of course, we can see GAM will be taking on the blue side this time around, and it is the 𝗂𝗏 first ban. I know, Nymaera, you have some thoughts on 𝗂𝗏 in general about how
𝗂𝗏
just
is-
obnoxiously strong right now.
She's the strongest support in the game, and she's a flex pick between mid and top as well. She wins pretty much every 2v2 laning phase for you and scales up your carries so very, very well, particularly because all the AD carries are most grand majority of them are those crit carries nowadays, which do benefit from attack speed very much later into the game. So yeah, good to see her removed.
Yeah, fun fact about 𝗂𝗏 top, it was 100% win rate until Huni started playing it and really dropped those stats. But just a fun fact out there for you. So, very flexible, very powerful. It'll be the Wukong as well, banned out by
Huni.
GAM. It was a good teleport that got a couple kills. Turn around a bot lane play from GAM last game. This time around, though, EVOS will also still ban out that Gragas, still ban out that Jace to
And-
comfort picks.
And with EVOS on red side, the Wukong ban I quite like because there's not as much likelihood that they're gonna blind pick it on red side. They can save it and see and give Zeros that good matchup. Now, if EVOS does want to just keep, they could quite easily just spend the rest of their bans on Dia, hit that Tristana.
Lucian
just
is
put him-
the one they banned last time.
that is also a Dia
Shyvana.
ban. So
Well, they
Yeah.
go towards the
I wouldn't mind
Shyvana,
seeing that
though.
again,
They
but-
just don't want to have to deal with that.
Do they genuinely just think they can't ban this guy out? But then what do you pick for Parquet that's actually going to survive lane?
Good question.
The Shyvana ban I think is more if we remove the AP junglers, Dia has to go on an AP champion.
And then, so
That's
they're
true.
trying
Sorry, good
to
point.
force him off the AD champion by doing that. I can
Yes.
agree with that kind of
But-
line of thinking. Plus, maybe if they want to go towards the Sejuani, you're thinking, well, maybe if we
But the
take this
Renekton's-
other scaling jungle off the table, it's off. It's the first pick.
Yeah, but Renekton's locked in. You then have to take away Nidalee now if you really wanted to, but you don't have that same setup on the top side because
Yeah,
Renekton
true.
Nidalee is as potent as Renekton Elise and scales better into the game and has pressure on the enemy jungler. You cannot pick Sejuani into that either because she is that battle warding champion. The Ashe has been locked in. That helps you into the late stages of
Alongside
the game
the
and
Thresh,
can pick
yeah.
off the squishy jungler, but it's still very risky.
All right, so we've gone very much towards a bot lane way to keep that safe. And also just taking away the Ashe from last game from Easy Love. Had a pretty damn good game on it. That one team fight around the mid game where he just survived everybody diving at him. It was pretty impressive. Pantheon locked in again for GAM. We know it's flexible, but I know, Vinny, you think that basically it always goes towards Slade. So good down there. Well-
It is
Lucian
flexible,
looking
but
sharp.
I think it's the strongest in the support position, and he had a really great game on it last time. And
Sure.
yeah, I like how EVOS has just actually picked a winning bot lane. That I don't think there are really anything that bot lane will lose to. I'm not gonna.
Maybe
Comment on
something
that.
like Misfortune potentially can. I don't know if that's something that they are going to go towards. And some Ezreal lanes can cope with it, but then of course with the Karma gone, not so likely. Of course that Nidalee's not locked in. Lucian's put in.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, the Lucian was locked in. I also want to call out on the other side, it is the Orianna lock in for EVOS, which Orianna into Lucian can be really rough for the Orianna.
That was the original matchup where mid Lucian was picked in like season 6 MSI. I remember, I think it was
Faker
Zhao who
dying
had taken
too.
down Faker on that pick even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You get. They're basically saying, yeah, we are more looking for late game. We do not care about the laning phase, which is not what we wanted to see. Because
Can I just say though, that Quinn ban's great.
the Quinn ban is great. I don't
and
think
Zeros
there's
plays it.
no
He
other
does.
losing. There are no other matchups that Renekton loses.
Let me introduce you to Vayne top.
There are no other pro
Well.
viable matchups that
Right, let
loses.
me
Drag
go to
us back,
Wikipedia.
just drag us back from random like rabbit holes to go down. We'll do that once we're into game, maybe. But Elise and Nidalee were the bans from EVOS, which are the ones that pair up so damn well with
Very
Renekton's
much like
daily
that. Very
pressure.
much like that.
GAM on the other side, though, of course, it was the Quinn. They also ban out the Graves, which is just a very good
it's GAM.
jungler right now. What are we expecting as a kind of EVOS first pick here?
I would.
You can potentially take away 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a
Just
bad
take away
thought.
the other AP jungle.
I think that would be probably the correct move, but you do know your top lane picks, so you can counter pick the jungle.
Go to Kennen, I think, is the answer here by the looks of it. And Kennen can play okay into Renekton if you don't get dived on too easily. If you can keep your distance, certainly ways to trade out. The response, though, potentially of the Aphelios out of GAM.
If GAM pick 2 low-range champions here, Zeus is going to have a field day.
Ooh.
That's
Look
not
at
a
that
low-range
AD carry
champion.
pick.
That is not
That
a
is not
low-range
low
champion.
range. Well, time to put on a show, and it'll be the man of the number 4 himself, Jhin, locked in for GAM. Tell me about Jhin, and tell me about this 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏, guys.
Well, 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏 is the one AP threat remaining in the jungle, and we know that Levi's played that before. Definitely something they can go for. And also, Jhin is like the Caitlyn Ashe counter. This guy outranges, he can attack off skills a lot of the time, stand behind the minion wave, and he has that kill threat, all-in threat with the Pantheon.
Okay, so it'll be Curtain Call and Requiem for a pretty nasty
That's
finale.
huge, actually. Yeah, I hadn't
from
thought about
GAM.
that. Yeah.
Can definitely blow people up from across the map. Anybody who ever gets low needs to be very, very wary. Sorn's last pick will be 𝗳𝗂𝗃𝗍, which I don't know about right.
Okay, so I don't hate it in the sense that you're going for a champion that can get in there and just kill the 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏 early and try and interrupt their
That's true.
I can agree with that.
jungle. But I don't know if 𝗳𝗂𝗃 is the correct choice there. I feel
It's a
like
bridge pick. It's a bridge. You're just trying to make sure the Renekton doesn't run over your cannon early game, which sometimes can happen, and it gives some threat to hold DO1 accountable. Plus, as Sam was saying, potentially you can assassinate the 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏 at late stages of the game. But I do agree with you, Vinny. It's risky. It puts a lot of emphasis on Sorn's early pathing.
Yeah, it's a pick where I don't mind it, but I think there are better options. I would have almost
Lee Sin, maybe?
Lee Sin. Yeah,
Echo wouldn't have been bad. Echo would have been quite fun, in fact. But then it gives you double AP topside, and maybe that's a bit risky, so the Renekton can build something like Merc Treads early, but yeah.
Right. So, gonna ask for a quick prediction here, guys. We've seen the Gigabyte Marines, we've seen EVOS. Who are we favoring right now looking at these rosters? I'm seeing big team fight from EVOS. I'm seeing they're just GAM now. Of course, they get renamed. Production yelling at me, telling me I'm wrong.
You fool!
They haven't been Gigabyte Marines for 3 years.
I know.
Well done, Sam.
I know.
And now back to the Boba Marines.
Oh.
Well, I've done it. I've proved myself a guest. There you have it. You've seen both rosters. You've heard me messing up. What are you expecting? A little bit of that kind of long range execute from GAM there.
I'm expecting that the Spirit Bond Ari will GAM's going to win, and I think it'll be a quick 2-0.
Yeah, I think
bit of bias there.
I think GAM's comp has a lot more potential to win. I mean, EVOS has a better setup than last game, I would say, but I still think opting into the Orianna against the Lucian and that last pick not really maximizing its potential, I'm gonna give it to GAM.
All right, there you have it. And to see whether it will be Spirit Bond time for Nymaera or not, the casters will have to tell us. Take it away.
Thanks very much, boys. We'll have to find out if you can go seduce your trash waifu or not. As if GAM can't win out this one, you'll have to wait just a little bit longer. I know I'm hoping for 3 games, just because I want to see more League of Legends, but I do love this composition. Levi on the 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏, and we do have the Jhin coming out. One of my favourite AD carries to watch. Such an interesting pick. As, yeah, Yulwei, what are your reactions so far?
So, excuse me, but I have to go down a little bit on the narrative points here. Levi, we talk about him as the king of the jungle in Vietnam, and now he's playing the Lich King of the jungle himself. I'm so excited. Look at this composition. It's full AD and then Levi 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏. He is here to really smurf this game and kill everyone. Can we see Wolf?
The jungle, Emma. Yeah, this is going to be interesting as he is stealing away this blue buff. And we'll see that the Wolf Camp is not there, so they know where Sorn started. And this is a 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗏 just solo invading 𝗬𝗂𝗃𝗍. Look at Levi. He is just absolutely the king of confidence. The helm of domination is strapped on tight, and he's looking to use it directly onto EVOS.
So, of course, 𝗂𝗩𝗢's got a few changes. He's faster now in terms of movement speed. A little bit slower in his initial clear, because he has 15% less damage on Q, but is kind of the E works differently now, so it's actually easier to use the E in the jungle because you have ticks every quarter second instead of every second. You don't actually have to toggle it on and off, as I understand it, too much anymore. Before you had to optimize your DPS while toggling E manually, so it got a little bit easier because of the quarter second ticks. But of course, 𝗲𝗏 was a very good 𝗂𝗩𝗢 even before they changed that. So he should have no trouble whatsoever to just clear his jungle camps again and again and again. Let's see if he can hit 100 creeps at like 11-12 minutes, because that's something he did before.
And this could be the 3 buff completed. Let's see what the health is on that blue. It is going to be taken down. That is the 3 buff going to be completed. There's no way 𝗁 gets down to Levi's red buff. So he gets off to a good start against the early game jungler. A bit of a disaster already. Could be found though, but you don't actually want to take this fight as Rek'Sai. There's the wall of pain and the Skittles. 𝗘𝗀𝗢 roaming in, and this is going to be a bit of a 2v2, but they do just disengage.
This is horrible for 𝗁 though. 𝗁 had the better position on the scuttle crab. He could have actually looked for a double scuttle here. Instead, now 𝗘𝗀𝗢 coming down, protecting Levi for a potential re-invade from 𝗁. So he's going to lose this scuttle crab too. At least he
hello, there's a flash knock up. Here they go. They could get the kill onto Levi, and they do. 𝗁𝗂𝗍 picks that one up. Can he get away from deal 1 though? No, it's going to be traded straight back.
The blue buff had transfer complete. 𝗂𝗢𝗢's wanted to give the blue buff over to 𝗬𝗏 early on, so he decided to int in the brush a little bit. He still got the farm advantage, and the kill didn't go over to 𝗁, so in terms of jungle matchup, actually no time lost, or no experience advantage lost for Levi. Just the kill donated over to 𝗁𝗂𝗢, which is also not going to help him too much, because he then immediately gave the counter kill over to 𝗬𝗏 without 𝗬𝗏 having to use his flash. So in the end, very advantageous for 𝗂𝗩𝗢.
Very, very true. GAM coming out best here, but let's see how it happened. It wasn't the most complex play.
No. Good punish, though. 𝗁 waiting for the knockout. I actually thought 𝗁 was just trying to get in range to smite away the scuttle crab. Instead, trying to change his play path and just going for the kill instead. Well played, but now, of course, he is missing his flash for a gank opportunity, which means GAM's lanes should be safe, just to farm it out a little bit more. And with 𝗬𝗏 flash advantage into 𝗁𝗂𝗢𝗢 having to blow his flash and still dying, means mid lane is going to be a focal point for the next few minutes.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. You'd almost wish he hadn't blown his flash there. Maybe they could have tried to get the kill without it, because it is just such a disaster that this Orianna is down the flash. It's up in the top side. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗢 is pushing in as Xerath backs. This isn't the greatest recall. Can we cancel it?
𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗢 has that constant push on the cannon, which I don't really like too much. I feel like the Renekton could have tried to look for aggressive trades when the cannon pushes in, but this way he at least gets almost all the creeps. Of course, it can be hard to last it under turret as a melee champ into a ranged champion. So you see 𝗬𝗏 just punishing 𝗁𝗂𝗢𝗢 in this matchup. It was banned in the first game, and now he's on his Lucian. Let's see if his Lucian or his Tristana is better. His ADCs are definitely exquisite.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically an ADC player, but he doesn't like the supports. But now 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗢 might not be liking what's happening to him. The Requiem will be called, and that does not get anything. So that's a big swing back for EVOS.
It's not even his Dark Harvest stack, if I saw that correctly.
Yeah.
So that's a 200-second cooldown on the ultimate. No Dark Harvest, nothing achieved for Levi. He's just going back to farming his jungle. 50 CS, keeping up with his laners so far.
Ooh, down in the bot side.
Can we see some action in the bot lane? It seems like GAM is fine. So we haven't really had the time to talk about Jhin, because the jungle matchup has had some explosive clashes already, and we see Levi just taking a very convenient Drake. Of course, 10% off old cooldown. Very nice for Levi.
Yep, 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗢.
Is 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗢 in trouble? 𝗁 no flash, so if 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗢 steps away from the wall, he should be fine.
Oh, that
there we
was not the best execution there. 𝗀𝗏 maybe shouldn't even have shown where he was. And then I'm never getting anything when that shuriken missed. But regardless, it is just the dragon taken. It's not the worst situation in the world. It's just one Cloud Drake.
Yeah, and his camps were respawning right now anyway, 𝗀𝗏's, so he didn't really lose much in terms of pathing. He's already behind massively in CS and experience, so he really needs to make something happen. Once his flash is back available, it's going to be an easier kill. Maybe he can try to invade 𝗃𝗏 again. I feel like he's refraining from trying to go for any skirmishes in the jungle right now because his flash is not up. So, and also mid lane pressure constantly in GAM's favor, of course, after the early trade there. So 𝗀𝗏 really needs to make something happen soon. 𝗃𝗏 hitting level 7, still keeping up in levels and in CS with most of the laners.
He's 20 CS ahead of the Rek'Sai already. 𝗃𝗏, I swear he's got extra camps. He cheats. That's the only explanation. I still think our theory that he actually cosmically farms Froggy's waves, even when they're not playing in the same game. You'll see, Froggy will now go down 20 CS in their next game. It's because 𝗃𝗏 has cosmically, through the 4th dimension, already farmed those minions in this game.
One of our favorite conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Get your tinfoil hats on, but it's true, I'm telling you. The government won't tell you. But it's possible. Big Riot is keeping it a secret from you. Oh my.
Let's focus on Jhin for a moment. You said it's one of your favorite. Oh wow, Blue gifted over to DR1. Interesting. 𝗃𝗏 confident that he can farm without the blue buff. Of course, 𝗃𝗏 has quite nice mana regeneration, especially if he goes for AoE camps, because you get, of course, all the mana back on every single unit you kill. So that should be fine too. But let's finally talk a little bit of Jhin. About Jhin.
Yes.
So, Jhin. I personally hate playing with Jhin. I really don't like that he doesn't bring the DPS. But he has been kind of the steady to the meta counter pick to Ashe. Not very successful. I looked at his stats coming into this game. He's on a losing record right now. The only games in top leagues are in the LPL. Not a single LEC, not a single LCK game on Jhin so far. 𝗃𝗏 wants to solo this objective.
Yep, is getting caught out though. Might have to bug out. Is on the top side. 𝗃𝗏 and 𝗁𝘂 are having a bit of a duel. 𝗃𝗏 coming out very far ahead of that one. But it is 𝗀𝗏 that takes the Herald. He'll pay for it with his life as he does get culled. 𝗃𝗏 has to find a way. The curtain has been called. 𝗁𝘂 will not get away. And it's 2 kills, I'm sorry, for the Rift Herald.
I feel like we've seen this before on the last game.
It's looking a bit familiar.
For the Rift Herald, but losing the fight and giving up too many kills. Dark Harvest now finally collected, or they've collected for 𝗃𝗏 the first stack at least. So he's trying to get going in that aspect too. Still 20 CS gold lead, 20 CS gold lead, 20 CS lead. and
DR1 mines a tower. Let's have a look at how this played out. Particularly this
there's
top
an
lane
𝗃𝗏
fight.
clash before this even starts. 𝗃𝗏 gets a lot of damage. 𝗁𝘂 has to flash out. This is already a free kill for 𝗃𝗏. So 𝗃𝗏 knows he just has to press R to get at least one kill. Pretty close with the recall, but honestly, even if the recall goes off, it's not enough regeneration in base to prevent you from dying there. So, unfortunate situation. The cannon taking a bad fight into 𝗃𝗏. I just want to point out that 𝗃𝗏 adapted his rune choice for the cannon matchup, going for the shorter trades and opting into PTA instead of Conqueror. Very smart choice. We just saw the effectiveness there in the last trade.
Yeah, huge amount of burst, but we were going to talk about the Jhin. And the thing is, we've tried. We're trying to talk about the Jhin, guys, we promise, but these two teams just do not let up. But yeah, he is being picked as the Ashe counter because he gets around a lot of what Ashe wants to do in lane. But the problem with Jhin is the problem Jhin has had since he was released. He can't team fight. He doesn't do DPS. Like, he just doesn't contribute enough damage in fights. And he
needs another main carry. He's never main carry. Yeah, that's the big problem. He actually provides a lot of utility, of course. Extra snares from a long range. He can slow people down, contribute some nice burst damage with his ultimate. But he's never the main carry, or at least until he gets super fat. So he should never be designed to be your main carry. And looking at GAM's composition, they definitely did not have him as the main carry here. They have so many more damage threats, so I actually don't mind Jhin in this composition.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Should give them a lot of long-range access and extra CC to lock down targets for Levi to then just press R, and that's probably going to be it for 𝗘𝗀𝗀𝗧 in the late game.
Yeah, and I mean, how appropriate is it? You have the Death Singer with his performing buddy of Jhin. We'll be able to call the curtain call for when Levi can come and have a bit of a performance. Love to see it. But yeah, that is now a Drake being picked up for EVOS. They stop the Dragon Snowball as we head to the wettest of rifts, the ocean. As, yeah, 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗀 takes a lot of damage, turns some of it around, but it's dangerous to chase this down. 𝗁 does not hit the Prey Seeker, so can't pop the ult.
A little bit unfortunate for 𝗏𝗏𝗏. If DR1 was positioned a little bit differently, or his ball was on the other side, could have maybe shoved DR1 into the turret range and close enough to get the kill. Now DR1 is still going to get the... almost. Next push is going to be the plating. Quick check-in with the CS for Levi, 95. He was on 91 in 10 minutes, so slacking for the last few minutes, but his camp should respawn soon. So up to 99 now. He's still very, very far ahead.
Yeah, he is looking very good here on this Karthus, though, I mean, 𝗁 has been doing all right, has got that 100% kill participation, is what you want out of your 𝗓𝗏𝗀, as 𝗁𝗏 teleports back to the top lane.
𝗁𝗏𝗏's build is something we've been talking about with Cannon into Renekton quite a lot. I really don't like to see Cannon proto build into Renekton. I feel like you have way more lane pressure if you actually opt into the full-on Gunblade, because you have sustain to match the Renekton sustain, which you can just harass with auto attacks too. So he basically sacked his lane a little bit here, and is just going to farm and try to pick up all the CS. And is really scaling into teamfights. Of course, the much cheaper first item and more mobility in teamfights. So you really have to make it work with flanks, with flash ultimates into the backline. The next opportunity might come soon with level 11, and the next dragon in 3 minutes. Herald is going to spawn soon as well. So some objectives to find around for EVOS.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to think about, but yeah, that is 𝗁𝗏 very much opting to help his team in the team fights rather than the strict side lane. I actually kind of like the decision. I think 𝗁𝗏 moving to play in the 5v5s where he often shines is a good idea rather than just the 1v1s against 𝗬𝗏𝗀, where at best it's an even matchup in terms of skill. While 𝗬𝗏𝗀 has been really showing off in the last few games. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 did get a lot of gold, and a long-range arrow, but DR1 reacts in time and dashes out of the way.
Finger.
He's
nicely done, and now he's kind of zoned away from his wave. No, the cannon minion. DR1 is angry. We're going to see angry DR1 in the next trade. 𝗏𝗏𝗏, you need to be careful. You denied him a cannon.
Oh no, you never want to deny DR1 a cannon because he'll come in and slap you. But speaking of getting slapped, it's up in the top lane as 𝗬𝗏𝗏 solo dives 𝗁𝗏. The Requiem did not even have to come in.
And this is a little bit of a mistake for 𝗬𝗏𝗏. Of course, you can't really fault him, right? He got the solo kill under turret. It's like, I earned this, but you kind of have to give it over to Levi. Levi pressed R. And now 𝗏𝗏𝗏 wants to punish.
Yeah, he is here, but I think it's just a bit of defense. I don't think he can really take this Renekton. He thinks he can, though. Levi is in the Herald pit, but it will back out before anything too bad goes off. There's the Herald being taken. And
Levo is still level 10, so it's once again something like a 180, 170 second cooldown. So you kind of have to give the Dark Harvest stack and the kill over to Levi for the team. This time around, Levi is in.
Oh, this is a decision they've made. I don't understand it. 𝗁 is on the run, has to dodge out the shots. Will manage to get out of the curtain call. There's the first kill onto Levi. 1-for-1 at the moment as 𝗁𝗏 died somewhere. He's having a bit of a shocker of a game. 𝗏 diving forward. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is the target now. Can they get on top of this Jhin? They can. The performance is ended. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 walks straight into a Pantheon. Goes gold. Will it buy enough time for a lantern? It will, but he won't take it yet. DR1 gets the kill. He's very, very low. 𝗏 is going to be the target though. DR1 will wander out. Will 𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗏 get away? He just about does as 𝗏 goes down.
first big throw for GAM in the whole series. That was such a bad team fight. We're going to keep our eyes on 𝗂𝗎𝗓 in the replay. He did something incredibly stupid, as you can see soon. So it starts quite good, but you have to also keep in mind that the Karthus ult is not available, so no tool to kill Zorn here. And now look at 𝗂𝗎𝗓. Look at what he does here.
Oh, that is silly.
What? What? Okay.
Hey,
Frontline Jin it is.
he wants to put on a grand show, Yulwei. And the best way to put on a grand show is to show some weakness. Let the audience think that you are weak, and then show them that you are strong later on. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻 just about gets out here, very, very close. But is it enough for EVOS to be back in this game?
And now only 1k gold behind. Look at the jungle CS. Zorn quietly back almost even in CS. Levi didn't get his Dark Harvest stack in the last one. I think he got one in the team fight, maybe? Not even sure about that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually not that far ahead on this Karthus. He could have been so much stronger already. Of course, GAM still the slightly stronger team right now on the map, and they are able to secure the first Ocean Dragon. It's not quite as impressive as some of the other Levi Karthus games in the past. Still definitely scaling up, of course. Always a threat you have to keep in mind.
And this will be a lot of pressure around the mid lane. Shelly will come in, not actually required. She got all charged up, and you don't even let her hit the tower. Just not very nice. There's a long-range arrow coming out, the shockwave as well, onto 𝗂𝗧. blocking up a lot of damage, but 𝗂𝗧 comes in from the backside, dealing so much damage. He does all the damage. He goes down, but here's the Requiem. The Death Singer will be giving us a verse. The curtain call as well. Can they block enough? No! He threads the needle and manages to get a kill that should never, ever happen. Oh my god, he nearly got 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻 as well.
There. That was absolutely horrible. That was so easy to block. But in the end, it's still a one team fight for EVOS. They are coming back into this game. Look at the gold. It's even. It's dead on even. 32.7k on either side. So, and the carries are getting all the kills. Look at the kill contribution. It's perfect for EVOS.
Let's have a look at how this happens, though. Slay, MVP.
Yeah, look at 𝗂𝗧, though.
Yeah. Wow.
Perfect flank from the side. Of course, he goes down first, but he dealt so much damage to it, even though this Karthus sitting there, very deep in the enemy enemy team. Okay, 𝗂𝗂𝗧. Okay, 𝗂𝗂𝗧.
It's a bit unlucky. Thresh has got a bit of a dump truck booty, unfortunately.
And forgot B, yeah. That was a little unfortunate. They could have definitely covered both, but B has to go down, gives up his first death in the whole game. Now EVOS actually in elite. They are behind in dragons, but they have a super strong cannon. It's actually not the cannon that is strong, but at least it provides a lot of CC. And both of the carries moving towards their second items. So
yeah, and we are getting two Zhonya's hourglasses coming in as well, which makes Levi's life a little bit harder. Of course, they can just immune the ult as much as possible, but other than that, there's not actually too much counterplay to the Requiem. So despite the gold coming back into EVOS's favour, very slightly, excuse me, they're still going to struggle to deal with this Karthus as the game goes on. He's going to be the focal point of GAM, I think.
B bringing some of his knowledge about matchups, and he's building straight towards Aegis, which is, of course, not Aegis, the Solari, of course, which is very smart. Solari, one of the best items into Karthus. You can kind of mitigate half of the damage of the ultimate, even as a support, so it's super valuable, especially if all of your team sits on top of Karthus. So, like to see that. That is a super smart decision. Also, Zhonya's, as you pointed out, will be built. We can move into Hex Drinker, third item for _𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗻. It's not an ADC that needs to follow strict itemization. So we could see that come in as well. And then Karthus's impact would be diminished greatly. And you have to consider all the other damage items, damage threats on the other side are AD. So might be dangerous here. Zhonya's is a super high value item in this game. It gives you armor, and it gives you protection against Karthus's main ability.
Yeah. It's very strong. Of course, on the side of 𝗂𝗧, who is the second one to be building it, it also just gives him the ability to ult in the back line, which we've seen the effectiveness of. It was pretty scary. But GAM will collect a little bit more gold, claw themselves back closer to parity as they take down that bot lane tower.
Yeah, the next fight is going to happen in 1 minute for the third dragon for GAM or the second dragon for EVOS. Zeros has all his summoners available, Parke, all the flashes.
Oh, hello! That's an arrow from downtown. 𝗂𝗃𝗢 trying to get away, but 𝗁 jumps in. Slay arrives as well, but there's a lantern to get him out to safety.
Perfectly executed. EVOS striking first here, now finally in the kill lead. After a horrible early game and a very, very disappointing first game, EVOS has finally arrived in this best of 3.
That they have. EVOS are here to show why we were so excited about these games. Of course, it has been a back and forth affair. It is definitely not over, but there's a bit of a bush bait. The Wall of Pain will come out and spot them. So they do manage to just wander
all
away.
The vision for EVOS on the top side. They might just run at Baron. And,
Ooh, a shockwave comes out onto 𝗎𝗍𝗏. Ooh. The show goes on.
That now is missing for the team fight. Oh, they might actually, GAM might actually profit from this. 𝗎𝗍𝗏 is still quite healthy. Of course, he's also super long range, so he should be able to just stay out of threat range. And EVOS needs to strike very, very quickly now, because I feel like GAM has an advantage in this team fight with Shockwave missing.
Very true. The dragon is going down very, very quickly. There's the smite to secure it. EVOS just need to evacuate. Curtain call comes out. Divkid's been caught. He's in so much trouble. Requiem is in. The verse won't be too powerful yet, but it's just a bit of damage. And look at the flank. This is going to be difficult for EVOS to get out of. They have to try and collapse on one of these sides. There's the culling. Slay takes a lot of damage, but 𝗁 is just getting chunked away. Zeros dives in. There's the kill onto 𝗎𝗍𝗏. Levi chased out as well. 𝗂𝗃𝗢 is the next target. He will go down. Zeros trying to get onto Levi, and he does! Pikachu strikes, and it's super effective, as they are now winning a team fight, winning the dragon, and they're looking strong.
I was really running into some troubles. They don't have the range to close targets. They just can't get on top of them. Levi's tried to ult first, which can be a good strategy on Karthus. You can try to initiate the team fight with an ultimate, because of course stuff like Zhonya's is very unlikely to get used at the start to open up your team to follow up. But then Dia1 on the solution, he just can't impact the fight. He dealt a lot of damage at the side to...
We'll have to come back to what happened
enough.
in the fight, because there could be a little contest over this Baron. There are a lot of pings on it. Teleport coming in. Slay dives in so early. Dia1 in the back there. That shield is doing so much. 𝗂𝗃𝗢 wants to get towards 𝗁, but he surfs over the wall. Slay will go down immediately. Can they get onto Dia1? He will get B. They need to kill this Lucian. This is absolutely disastrous. The Baron is secured, but none of EVOS are going to get away. Oh, actually, I tell a lie. Zeros might. He's pressing B. They don't read where he is, and he escapes. But oh, dear God, no.
This is something EVOS likes to do a lot. They like to run a Baron, super risky Barons. The team fight, you have to consider, it's a 4-4 or 5-4-0 even in the team fight, but it's on the other side of the map. It's so far away from the Baron. So we look at this Baron contest first. It's quite well played for GAM. Of course, Dia1 is kind of, he's there. He gets focused by the Baron, so he can't actually do much damage. But then the other side of the fight is way more important. 𝗎𝗍𝗏 flashing forward, executing the Ashe. Now he deals so much damage on this Jhin. With all the low health targets, Jhin deals extra damage, of course, on some of his executes there. So 𝗎𝗍𝗏 with a big team fight. Now no flash, though, so the next team fight might be dangerous against Zeros, who has been getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
But of course, only one Baron buff made it out there. That was just a bridge too far from EVOS, and that's been one of their biggest problems, is that they get that team fight win, and as you said, the Baron, it just takes too long to walk there. They should have just been happy with it, but unfortunately they've given GAM a way right back into this game.
So enticing, though, to just go for the Baron. And in the end, it kind of still paid off, right? They still got the Baron. They will get another turret. The gold, GAM got some gold back, but honestly, the gold doesn't matter too much anymore. It's more about the objectives.
It's a lot of gold for Jhin.
𝗎𝗍𝗏 is super strong now, but he's also in no mobility backline AD carry against the super strong cannon. So he needs to come up with a way to survive team fights in the next one. that matters is going to be around next dragon in 2 minutes.
Ooh, 𝗘𝗀𝗢 on a very big flank. GAM wants this one as 𝗧 goes flying in. He explodes. 𝗘𝗀𝗢 is found on the flank there, so has to try and get away. This could be GAM throwing the ball straight back as 𝗁 dives over the wall, comes out of the sand. Has to be careful though, 𝗘𝗀𝗢 very strong. As the curtain call is cancelled early, the actors were not ready to go on stage.
Once again, GAM looking for the engage, but look at all their AD carries just can't follow up. The DR1 doesn't have the range. 𝗬𝗏 doesn't want to get in range. He just wants to poke from far away. So there's no one following up on 𝗧's engage. And I mean, late game, maybe you can bank on the fact that Levi is just able to break through all the HP bars. But it's not looking super likely right now. He had to go a defensive build. Look at Levi not going for the 𝗂𝗏𝗠s or the Oblivion Orb to really get the most out of his damage. Not even for the team fight item would be Liandry's instead. Very defensive option. So not quite the strong Karthus we have seen before from Levi. And it's getting harder and harder for GAM to even establish battle lines in fights. When 𝗧 arrives, no one is there in time, and then 𝗧 is already dead when all the others arrive, so it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, that was very, very badly timed. There was no coordination, but we have another fight here as Levi has to go gold. 𝗁 surfing out with the big shield. 𝗁𝗏𝗧 will get that one. Xeros and DR1 having a duel on the other side. Xeros might go down, but no, has the Zhonyas. DR1 trying to chase onto him. Can he get the cannon? He can. There's the shutdown. And in the middle of the enemy team is 𝗘𝗀𝗢. DR1 is showing why we care as he gets the triple kill. 𝗁 will be the next target as well. He goes down. There is the Quadra, and 𝗁𝗏𝗧 is the only one to survive. Who is winning this game? Who's winning? Oh, 𝗁𝗏𝗧, he's in trouble. He's slowed. 𝗧 comes over the wall. Do they want to try and give a penta to DR1? You know they want to if they can. 𝗁𝗏𝗧 has no mana at all. He has flash, and there it is. The pentakill! DR1, he is an absolute hero.
Just as I point out how hard it is for Lucian to teamfight, he finds the perfect position. Everyone grouped up, everyone close to him. He had the perfect way to get into the fight too, just waiting for the main threats to already like abate, and all the cooldowns were already used on Xeros' ultimate and so on. So he was free to strike, and strike he did. Pentakill and another dragon over to GAM, but they still haven't won the game, even with the pentakill.
This game is weird, Yulwei. I don't know who's winning. I don't know, because it seems to be one team wins a team fight, then the other, then the other, then the other. Where are we? I don't get it. Help!
I would, looking at all the items in the composition, I would still favor EVOS in team fights, but of course we definitely saw the potential for GAM. If it's scrappier, if it's in weird territory, or where EVOS can not fight front to back and not zone away the Lucian, then he gets to shine, he gets to bring all his damage. Look at his items, he's working on his 5th item already. So that's where GAM wants to fight and how GAM wants to fight, but it's basically on EVOS to mess up. I feel like the onus is on EVOS. The ball is in their court. If they play it cleanly, which they are not really known for, but still, if they do everything correctly, they should win this game.
Of course, but we're in a position where, is 𝗎𝗎𝗎 the best ADC in the VCS? Mate, he's not even the best ADC on GAM. As DR1 has been absolutely smurfing. No worries, guys. I totally came up with that joke. Didn't steal it from anyone.
Yeah, very original. As always.
As always, of course. I'm a comedy genius. But, of course, I do agree with you. EVOS should still have control. But it's GAM on Ocean Soul point now. This is going to be super, super important. And how do they stop DR1? He's 9-1, Yulwei. He's 9-1.
He has QSS too, but it's still the same problem. Lucian just doesn't have the range to really deal with Ashe. Ashe is super hard for Lucian to kill if he can't come in from the side as he did in the last team. But that was honestly the perfect positioning for a team fight to happen, especially with Karthus softening up all the targets he wanted to go for. And if that doesn't happen again, I don't see DR1 having the impact he had in the last fight. Of course, hard to match a pentakill.
Of course.
But still, there is the IE now for 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗘𝗀. 𝗘𝗀𝗢𝗘𝗀 also with the Flash available and QSS now built. As we see, he was just run at the Baron.
Yeah, 2 members of GAM were down on the bottom side. The curtain call comes out. They know what's going on. As they will dodge away 𝗧, dodge away from the hook. This is dangerous. 𝗚𝗧𝗧 takes a big hit. They'd actually lost the crab as well. That matters as the Baron getting very, very low. 𝗳𝗏 in the backside. The Baron secured. Can he go gold? No, he just lanterns out. Running away with the ignite. He gets taken there by 𝗬𝗏𝗏. Sword surface over the wall. That Requiem did so much damage. And Yulwei, it's happening again. It's happening again. As GAM win the team fight. 𝗘𝗩𝗢𝗦 cannot get away. He's found by 𝗧. 𝗧 will go down. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 is the next target. He takes a lot of damage, but in the end, the crits will win out.
What does this mean every day? It's another Baron to EVOS, but another one team fight to GAM.
I think
but
it
who
means
knows
GAM's
what
going to
this actually
win.
means for the game.
I feel like GAM are going to break the base and push for the win here.
Yeah, there is a minion wave streaming in, but of course 𝗁 has Baron buff, so if he plays this well, he should be able to prevent the minions from really hitting the turrets.
Yeah, but
Oh,
they're getting cleared out very quickly. This might just be the game, Yulwei. They're onto the turrets. There's 5 seconds on 𝗳𝗏, but that is far too long. Thresh respawning is not going to be enough. And it looks like GAM will put the final nail in the coffin. Ooh, hang on a minute. EVOS have arrived, and GAM backing off with an open Nexus.
They finally break the base, but it's still so dangerous. They could lose the game at any point. I hope we get to see the replay. I want to really talk about how EVOS executed the Baron. But let's first look at timers. 1 minute to 𝗚𝗔𝗠. This is going to be another opportunity for GAM to win this game. 𝗚𝗔𝗠 should definitely bring them over the line. There should be another item built for Dia1. Yeah, he finishes his rapid fire cannon. So a little bit more range. Can help with the range problems, but it's only 1 auto attack. So,
Yeah,
it's probably not enough. Everyone building up so many items. Look at 𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗧, look at 𝗳𝗏, look at 𝗘𝗏𝗧𝗏. He was ready to fight as well. And everyone heading straight towards 𝗚𝗔𝗠.
Yeah, this cannot be given away here. And of course, you have to always be aware that GAM might go for the sneaky backdoor. There is nothing defending that Nexus. There is a ward in the base as well. No, it's just timed out, actually. So no teleport potential.
Look at 𝗬𝗏𝗏's items as well. 100% crit and stopwatch. He is actually dealing a lot of damage right now. Even though he's Jhin, the 4 attacks he has will hurt big time.
B throws out a hook. It doesn't land. The curtain is called. EVOS have to back off from this cone. The dragon started. 𝗧 dives in. 𝗳𝗏 looks for an engage desperately, but they're just backing off. They can't give this up. Surely, no, EVOS. They just give the 𝗚𝗔𝗠 away for free.
That's 𝗚𝗔𝗠. Can EVOS strike back on Dia1? Dia1 is so hard to catch.
No, he just
though.
dodges. Oh no. I think the wheels just came off the wagon.
Yeah, look at bot lane wave. This should be an easy bot lane push. Don't go mid lane. This is not where you want to be. Mid lane, there is nothing for you to take. Just go bot, use your minion wave that is stacked up. It's a very big wave, so should be very easy to break bot lane inhibitor. Instead, they're just going mid lane for no reason, waiting for Okay. Crits.
Wow. That's a lot of damage. 𝗧 takes a bit back. Levi stopwatches the shockwave, but does take a hook. Can they turn this one around? 𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗧 starts it off well. 𝗳𝗏 was doing a lot in the back line as well. Here comes Requiem. 𝗘𝗏𝗢𝗏 will go down for sure. And can they do anything about Dia? It's a 4v3. There's a big crit out of 𝗬𝗏𝗏. 𝗳𝗏 goes forward. 𝗁 comes out of the ground, but it's B and 𝗁 against the Dia1, and he is an absolute monster. Levi there as well, dealing a lot of damage, and they're just going to clean them all up before going for the base. 𝗁 desperately swims away, but will get shot down by this Lucian. Dia1 showing why he was last split's MVP. He is going to show that he is the best mid laner in the VCS, and they are going to take a swift 2-0 over EVOS. GAM working as a team is a fearsome thing, and they look unstoppable.
Why do I even bother talking about other inhibitors? It's GAM against EVOS. They're just going to clash in the base. It looked kind of dicey at the end, but what a performance in that last team fight from all the GAM members. Big shout out to 𝗬𝗏𝗏.
Absolutely.
Performed super well on this Jhin. He one-shot, he basically one-shot the Ashe on the other side. Very impressive performance.
That it was a fantastic one. And Yulwei, we did not expect a 4-game day. on this Friday
We
night.
really
We
did.
really didn't,
What?
but I'm not complaining. I think we got 4 very, very good games, and it will be GAM showing that they can strike hard here in this make or break week. That is, of course, their only big matchup. They've got one of the easier ones on Sunday. So that's fantastic for GAM, but we will now throw back over to our analyst desk to break it all down for you.
You're still muted, Sam.
That's 2 in a row I've done that now. One of these ones. There we go. Well, some people are prepped, some people aren't. And to quote every day, quoting me, quoting the Beatles, is 𝗎𝗎𝗌 the best ADC in the VCS? My boys, he's not even the best ADC on GAM. 𝗘𝗩𝗢 hard carrying through that mid game when things were looking pretty dicey for GAM in that one. Wouldn't you say, Nymaera?
He found ways to dance through team fights in a way that Lucians rarely do in the current meta. This guy was just finding space against the likes of a Thresh and a Thresh, Rek'Sai, and the Cannon, which are all really good at these kind of counter dive style of play. Because if you dive into a Cannon ult, you die. If you dive into a Thresh, you flays you into hooks, you die. That didn't happen. In fact, he only died the one time the entire game. He set up every fight so very, very well and ran away with this game.
And I think it will come as no surprise to anybody that he will be the MVP for this match. And of course, the MVP, the player of the series, rather, as well. 𝗘𝗎𝗢 had an absolute smurf of a series on the double AD carry, the Tristana and the Lucian, doing foul things to EVOS in these games. Vinny, anything else you want to add on to this particular performance?
He's back. GAM's back. God,
You're
they're
afraid.
back. Will they ever go away? No, they won't. They will never go away. They will. It seems like you can never count this team out, even if it's like, oh, they're actually looking bad. They're looking bad. They might not win this. Will be at the top of the split. No, they're back. This is the strongest. Like, they're working together really well, and they look like much stronger than they did last split. 𝗎𝗎𝗌 and Slay looking like a much better bot lane, and
Yep.
then Blazers and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and this is probably the strongest GAM we've seen. As long as 𝗬𝗎𝗍 can keep up these performances, as long as they can all keep up these performances. I mean, 𝗬𝗎 has picked up a pentakill for himself. That's
huge. Yeah.
That's something,
massive
isn't it?
out of him.
All right. So, for all that we are praising GAM here, we have to praise EVOS as well in this second game, particularly because they made GAM sweat. And Nymaera, tell me a little bit about how a lot of those mid-game team fights were getting consistently turned around in the favor of EVOS.
A lot of it came from the fact that Levi was set quite far behind, and actually Sorn did a good job of keeping up in farm, keeping relevance, and just pressuring people around these team fights. But the big team fight prowess was, of course, coming out from Zeros on the Cannon. We saw, like I was saying, that one kill onto 𝗘𝗎𝗢 came from a wonderful Cannon flank. This guy was continually holding the entire team of GAM accountable, and it meant that they had to hold a lot of cooldowns in reserve, or if they didn't, it ended up making these fights very, very close.
On the other side of it, though, when EVOS found some of these advantages at the end of Dragon fights in particular, and they rushed Baron twice. Vinny, what happened and how did it go wrong really badly twice?
So EVOS and Baron is
Tell me a story.
unfortunately becoming the theme of the split. EVOS is looking a lot like the Dignitas of old. Baron does not do them any favors. The biggest throw we've seen was the 10k advantage. They rush Baron and they lose the smite and then lose the game. And now again, it's like EVOS, they're coming into it, they're able to win it. And to Sorn's credit, at least he gets the Baron this time. But they lose the fight so badly. It's 4-0 every time.
Yeah, you can give a golf clap for that.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
you get all this pressure, and then it's just gone, as well as a nice, healthy cash injection towards GAM, and that definitely brings them back into these games. And yeah, you can't do that.
No. Heartbreak for EVOS, who played out that kind of mid-game so well and kind of stifled a lot of the potential snowball from the Renekton and the Lucian that wanted to like really abuse lane and take that pressure elsewhere. I do want to turn our eyes a little bit to some of GAM's failings, perhaps, in this game. They, on the whole, had a pretty good series and managed to work their way out of a difficult situation. But make no mistake, it was a difficult situation. And I have to call out some of the fights where they were like looking for Pantheon engages, Pantheon gets blown up. Desyncs between Renekton stuns and curtain calls from the Jhin in particular, where I know in our kind of like little chat off the side when we were talking about the game, we were all a little bit unimpressed with the Jhin ults, at least in the mid game. What was going on there, GAM? And well, guys, I suppose. And should some of these other teams be looking at this GAM performance and thinking, well, maybe we can pick this apart in a way that EVOS perhaps didn't?
I think it shows that GAM are not completely firing on all cylinders, or at least even when they're in the ascendancy, they're not playing perfectly. The two plays which really stick out to me was the one where Slay, I mean, very obviously on the visuals, flashes over into the fight while Slay is just like off to Narnia up in the north of the jungle there, just ults into absolutely nowhere, gets his AD carry killed, gets him killed as well, and Dia1 is the only person to walk out of that fight. That was the first fight which went badly wrong from them, and that really let EVOS back into the game. And credit to EVOS for catching the throw as it was coming to them, or at least in part until they throw it back with the Barons. And then the second one was that Dragon fight where, as you were saying, there was a Renekton stun which came onto Ashe, and then the Jhin ult was not timed with it. I believe the first shot came out before the stun came down, which meant the sidestep came through. And then by the time the stun ended, the second shot was already on target, and then it kind of was dodged out once the stun ended. That kind of disconnect can cost you hundreds of HP of damage in a team fight, and it did mean that Ashe got away with it, and it meant that the turnaround came in from EVOS in that fight too. It's just not quite on the same page mechanically.
Anything else you want to add on that one, Vinny?
I think you look at Slay and Kiaya this game, and they were very hyphy in the going in well ahead of their team and just basically dying for free, which put GAM in a lot more difficult positions. On the Jhin thing, I think you don't have to. There's not too much concern as time goes on, because it's a very specific counter, and they're probably very new to the pick, so that should clear up. But they did not look practiced with the pick.
It's just that that's a very clear interaction, right? That's a very clear synergy where you're like, this is what I meant to do. Stun into curtain call, it's this instant amount of damage. If they're not doing that, that does say something about how comfortable they were with it coming in. It could get cleared up, you're right, but they just like, that's your bread and butter.
It was rough, kind of rough this game, and I think mostly just it might have been like predicting a flash or something. That could have been part of it. But,
right. Okay. Well, enough ragging on some of the mistakes, GAM, because actually I think we do want to celebrate. Actually, Game 1 was a great kind of macro, overall clean game. Game 2 was a lot scrappier, but we have to praise them again for the outplays. The mechanics held the pentakill. And I think with that, guys, we've seen GAM now move up to match the top of the table, and that gets very exciting for days 2 and 3. But for us here on the VCS English, myself as Initialize with Nymaera as well as Gesso from the LGL, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again.
Come watch us sometime. We have our own stream.
Enough of our own little bit of...
yeah, you can find us on Twitter. You can find all our stuff we do there. We cast a load of different stuff. We love working with these guys too. It's been really fun today.
Exactly. And I'm sure as well, thank you again to Everyday and Yulwei for having us on and for the fantastic cast. But for us, that will be all for today. Come back again tomorrow to catch out the rest of the games. And of course, Sunday as well. But until such time as that, we'll be seeing you around.
Don't forget to, if you're interested, join the Discord community. This link is down below. And if you want to shoot a message to Riot or Garena to make this potentially official, I don't know. Well,
do you want to see this but glitzy?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Or if you want a bit better of a stream, maybe not necessary at all, but consider maybe donating. That's all.
Consider the donations. Consider the Riot messages. Consider tuning in tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Yeah, that too. See ya.